All right. Thank God it's Friday because we get to talk wrestling. And tonight we have a bunch of stuff to get into. We've got obviously NXT. We've got SmackDown. WrestleMania. Going to be welcoming fans back into the arena. New Japan announces a show for April 4th. Another episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Lio Rush talking about AEW using fans ringside during this pandemic as fans. We've got all that and more. Boxman is here. Smark is there. And we are your Dirt Sheet Dudes.
And after it's all said and done, you're going to be taking splinters out of your fat asses all night long because you got fat asses. The only chance you have no chance. If you had a chance, you need to run lickety split. You can't run because you're the fat asses. Well, Ric Flair, you know what? I'm not a normal looking athlete myself. You know what I'm talking about? I've been in the gyms alive. It's a privilege and an honor to walk out with Ole Anderson, Lex Luger, and the Army tomorrow night.
I am not a happy camper. What is Bully Ray's motivation? No, I love Heath. I know he loves sugar. But I check my pocket. I don't have no donuts. I don't have no cheeseburger. I know you love sugar, but I ain't got none.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here in Nashville, Tennessee, pal. I'm the man.
Look at a match for the total package, Lex Luger and Super Brawl. Super Saturday, what is it? I don't know what it's called. What is it called?
Super Bowl Saturday.
Super Brawl Saturday?
You don't lose faith in winners. And Ric Flair, day in and day out, every day of his life, just keeps winning and winning and winning.
Ric Flair! New York City, Ric Flair! You're gonna find out what hard is all about! I do exactly what I want to do. You say I'm insane. I say thank you very much.
Make a good luchas.
I hate God!
Hit the deck! Yes! We love you, Scott Steiner!
Today, woo, I've got the star and profile like never before.
You guys talk about being students of the game. I am the game, JR.
Hot air hangs like a dead man from a white oak tree. People sitting on porches thinking how things used to be. Dark night. It's a dark night. Dark night. It's a dark night. The neighborhood was changing. Strangers meeting. A new boy fell for a local girl when she made eyes at him.
All right. Little taste of the blasters there for you guys. If that song sounds familiar, it was in Dusk Till Dawn, from Dusk Till Dawn. So there you go. And that is the Blasters. If you ever seen the movie Streets of Fire, that's the band when they go into the bar and all that crap. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? Dirt Sheet Dudes Friday night. We are ready to talk wrestling. Smark.
Yes, sir. How's everybody doing tonight? How are you tonight, good sir?
I am good tonight, sir. I was going to ask you how you were doing.
I am zesty.
Zesty. Okay. All right. I mean, I had a great lunch, which was which is one of the reasons I'm actually in a good mood. I had a really good lunch today.
What you have?
I was out in it could be called Garland or Dallas. It's right on the line of two little cities coming together, Dallas City and Garland. And I'm driving, and it's 12 o'clock. The McDonald's is packed. The Wendy's is packed. There's an Arby's up the road. It was packed. So I'm looking over, and I see a place called Funkdefried. Chicken place. Good God, I think I had the best fucking chicken of my life.
Nice.
Oh,
okay.
They had chicken. Their potato salad was good. Their coleslaw was even better. I fucking died and went to heaven for lunch, dude. I will drive out there just during lunch to go back. That place was fucking amazing.
It does sound good. I love good chicken.
They're like two sides. I saw the potato salad. I said, that and the coleslaw. I love coleslaw. It kills my stomach because of the mayonnaise and the vinegar, but back the fuck up.
There you go.
I just stopped at a gas station, got some Zantac, took those right afterwards. Yeah, man, you got to plan.
But of course.
Yeah, so that's one of the. I had an awesome lunch. My wife made a good dinner. She made some beans and had
very nice.
Kind of a southern lunch and dinner tonight.
I had chicken last night. There's a local place around here called Champy's. I got that chicken tenders from there. They do fried chicken too, but I just prefer tenders. So you can get beer there. So basically, their whole thing is like literally one of their taglines is 40s and foul.
I like that. I'd go there, man.
Yeah, it's a very nice place. There's like one downtown and there's one a little bit closer to me, but yeah, they're really good. I like them.
Yeah. See, they're talking about pizza in the chat room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been a bit of a streak going on here. SBC has been it's big and almost like a pre-show ritual. He's been having the stuffed crust pizza over there at Papa John's. Papa John's.
Papa John's. We tried that a few weeks ago. It's not bad. I don't really care for the stuffed crust. It's a little too much cheese for me. I'll eat it, I will eat it, which is a problem. Luckily, it's white cheese, so it doesn't kill me, but too much of any cheese, actually, that just doesn't do well in my stomach. I really probably need a little drinking break. I could probably eat more if I did that.
Yeah, I usually don't eat quite as much, or not nearly as much when I'm drinking versus when I'm sober.
Love drinking and eating. I love doing it. I do it all the time, actually. Oh yeah. Drink, eat. I'll cut up if me and the wife day drink, I'll cut up a summer sausage. Me and the boys will go back and tear that shit up, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
get one of those Costco ones that's like fucking 3 feet long. Cut that motherfucker in half, and then I got that vacuum seal thing, that food saver. I seal it, forget about it for a couple of weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what we do. Because the wife won't eat it, but the boys tear that shit up. Give them a little mustard, they'll tear that shit up, man. Me too. So, all right. Anyway, plugs.
Yeah.
Plugs. I almost forgot about fucking plugs. We got a plug. We got plugs to do. Let's go ahead and do that real quick right now. Fuck it. I'm just gonna go ahead and play the. Let's play Mike Awesome's theme. Why not? Right?
Sure.
There we go. Play one of Mike Awesome's ECW themes, and let's go ahead and. I'm killing time because I think I got to burp again. Nope, I'm good. All right, High Marks, Cheeseman, Mojo, G-Wiz. Check those guys out. They are right here on the Mixler.com/Metal Mitt Network. Put 2 T's in that bad boy right there. And you can find them 8:30 p.m. Sunday nights. That is Eastern Time. Right here, once again, Mixler.com/Metal Mitt Network. And, of course, the Bobby Anthem and the Bobby Blades, the two Bobbies. They are on the Inhuman Experience. Subscribe to that. You're still going to get shows. Yeah, they're on a little break, but go ahead and subscribe because you do not want to miss anything. And, of course, the Everything Unscripted podcast. Check out those guys over there. Eric, Doug, Daniel, great guys. Great fun listening to those gentlemen. And they're over there on Blog Talk Radio. Just type in Everything Unscripted. It will pop up there. And, of course, Stephen Milan sharing the show. It's much appreciated, sir. Letterboxd, BOXD.com/Stephen Milan. You can catch him over there reviewing those films and doing a hell of a job at it. And, of course, you guys can get us on Spreaker. You can find us on Stitcher, iHeart, Spotify, Google, TuneIn, and now Anchor. we'll be doing the ads, just not right now. We'll get to them later. I'm going to sign up for that over the weekend, and we'll throw a few ads out there. See what happens. Smart.
That's right. Trying to grease our pockets. Anyways, as always, be sure to check out our friend the Cheeseman. Cheese on Sports Mondays, 8:30 in the Middle Podcast Network on Mixlr, as well as wherever you get your podcast. But also be sure to check out our friends at the Planet Raconteur. A little bit of a remix there. The Planet Raconteur podcast with Bobby Anthem, Papa Dave Sincere, and Yuck Nasty. Be sure to subscribe because season 2 is coming at you wherever you get your podcast. And also, I will be uploading pirated copies onto LimeWire, so you might want to be on the lookout for that. The unofficial copies, the bootleg copies are going to be on the LimeWire, so the Bear Share, if you guys still use that. So just trying to add some more platforms and trying to get my hand into that pocket too. But yeah, for real, be sure to check them out because they are doing some great work over there.
Definitely check them out over there. All right, I don't even know what to add to that. Jesus, look at you over there rhyming and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you.
That's right.
You're a poet, and you didn't know it.
Oh.
I mean, I could have done that, but nah.
Apparently, the Papa John's closes at 1 a.m., so you guys need to get your orders in.
Oh, place them online, folks. They'll be there soon. I like Papa John's. Good pizza. Good pizza.
I like them too. I was telling a story in the chat room, but I'll tell it here real quick. At a place I used to work at, like every Sunday, we'd get Papa John's. Like the manager would order Papa John's for us, and then the actual Papa John then came out of the pocket and said some crazy things, and all of a sudden that ended pizza party day. So I was pretty bummed out about that.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Shit. Poor Papa John. Yeah, he did say some pretty crazy shit. But hey,
he was like, the political thing is one thing, but he was also talking about at one point like the doomsday was upon us.
Yeah, he was
really. I've been eating 40 pizzas in the last 20 days, and the end times are upon us. Like, what the fuck are you on, sir?
And that was a lie. He said, "Well, I might have exaggerated." He lied. He fucking lied. You don't exaggerate.
And if you can't trust advertisers, who can you trust?
My God, when you can't trust a man who makes your fucking pizza, who the fuck? Thank God Shaq got involved in that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking
I mean,
Shaq.
the Little Caesar guy hasn't told any lies.
Hey, that was my first real job was at Little Caesars. I made crazy bread, son. You better calm your fucking ass down.
Hey, I'm just saying, he's just out there with his toga. He's always reliable.
Absolutely.
He says, pizza. They have pizza there. He's always telling the truth.
And you can do the double pizza, which it's good. I like it. I like it. It is good. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Get into some wrestling because that's what you guys want to talk about. You know it. I know it. All right, we're gonna get to NXT because NXT was good. Yeah, and NXT actually was very good. And to be honest with you, when I looked at the ratings, I got to tell you, I was a little shocked at the ratings. I actually thought NXT would have done a little bit better. Real quick, again, we don't get deep into these, and I'm not about to. Dynamite, 854,000, and NXT was at 659. Actually, really surprised NXT didn't break that 700 mark. Again, I thought it was a great fucking show. That last fucking match, holy shit! I can't wait to talk about that. Total of 1.5. Again, we're still losing a couple 100,000 every week. It seems we lose 1 to 200,000 wrestling fans. Need to get back to that 1.7 plus mark to kind of keep it rolling here. But yeah, again, just mention ratings real quick. But I was a little shocked. I don't know about you, Smark. I kind of figured it would be a little more for NXT after watching it because we did AEW on Wednesday, and after watching NXT, I was a little surprised. Go ahead.
Same. Well, my theory on things, and I guess this has kind of been proven untrue potentially, but I usually think that the current week's show, that the ratings for the current week's show is a reflection on the week prior's show, the quality of it.
Right.
And I thought that last week NXT was actually a little bit better, in my opinion, than AEW the second night of the New Year's Smash. But yeah, apparently not everyone felt that way because, like you just said, they lost by almost 200,000 people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty rough. And like, it is what it is. We don't really talk about it around here, but like, you knew Wednesday being what Wednesday was, that a lot of the news shows, as they normally tend to do, were going to rule the day, and that was also the case this Wednesday. I believe they said that AEW, I think I heard this on The Observer, that Dynamite was actually like the top-rated non-news show going on for that time spot.
Well, Dynamite did very well. I mean, 860. What did I say? 867. I actually closed it. Hold on one second. 867. I said, right? Yeah, 854. I apologize. 854,000. I mean, no, it's not. Obviously, you can always ask for better, but that ain't bad. And I mean, when Dynamite is doing 8, let's be honest. How many wrestling fans do you think are really into the politics?
Well, I mean, that's the thing now.
Oh.
It's that you're implying that there's a certain amount of knowledge and understanding before you get into the politics, and that's not the case anymore. So now everybody's just fucking wading into that pool. So you've got the same people that are watching, wrestling and fucking Desperate Housewives and American Idol and all this shit that are watching, political shows too. So you got to have something to misquote when you fucking bang your hands on the keyboard on the Facebook. So, I mean, I don't know. They've been. I mean, we've seen it. I don't know what the crossover audience is, but we always pontificate over whether or not football or sports in general take away viewers, and if politics take away viewers, the news shows. So it's hard to say, but I mean, I gotta imagine there is some crossover.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there is. I'm just thinking. I mean, how many could really care about what's going on? I mean, please, that's our getaway, most of us, man. I've heard, most people say that. It's like our getaway. We can kind of lose ourselves, suspend disbelief for a couple hours, 3 hours when you're watching Raw. And God, you really have to fucking work on that suspension during Raw. But I don't know, man. The ratings are what they are. There's so many, like I said, it doesn't show Hulu and this and that. And there's so many other ways to watch NXT. It's just, I think the ratings are kind of bullshit, to be honest.
Well, there might be fewer ways to watch NXT, and we're going to get into that a little bit later in the news.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, unless they move. We'll get into it later. You know what? We'll just get into it after this, or unless you want to just tie it in right now.
I guess we can. Give me a second here to pull it up, but that was the one that I didn't bookmark. Anyways, the long story short of it is that NBC announced that the NBC Sports Network is closing down. Mm-hmm. They're going to be closing it down this year. They didn't give an exact date. But the conflict with this is that the NBC Sports Network shows NASCAR events. They also show the NHL. And the NHL has a weekly Wednesday series. They show games on Wednesday nights. So that could cause a conflict, since they're saying that the NBA or the NHL and the NASCAR are going to be on USA. And that's going to be a potential scheduling conflict, as well as the fact that now USA has sports. They might not necessarily need to have their kind of channel padded out with stuff like NXT, and the ratings consistently dropping might be a cause for concern for them, that maybe they decide not to renew or re-up their contract, or offer them more money, which is what people were anticipating,
or offer them to switch nights, which is probably what's going to happen. And if that happens, it's going to depend on how you want to look at it. Either people are going to go, oh, WWE's now using this as kind of an excuse so they can switch nights, and the other kind of aisle is going to be, hey, AEW beat them, they won.
Yeah. So, yeah, like you said, that's a potential thing too, is that they might end up switching nights because of the scheduling conflict, and then you have the sort of, it would probably ultimately, behoove them to do so. I like that word. But, but then you will have those people that, like you said, are going to be saying, oh, well, this is them waving the white flag, this is them admitting defeat, when really it's just a better way to get more eyes on the product and have more people just watching and talking about wrestling in general, which would ultimately be a good thing.
Yeah, it looks like, let's see, right here, it says, of note, USA Network is in 86.2 million homes. NBCSN, which I guess is the one shutting down, is only in 80.6 million homes. So, I mean, you're gaining 6.2 million eyes right away just by, just by doing this.
Sure.
Which,
absolutely,
in the scheme of things, it's not a huge, 86 to 80 million. It's not like, ooh, what a big deal. But 6 million people is a big deal. And then you got to get them to watch. Of course, you're never going to get 86. You're never going to get every person to watch everything you do. So, all right. Damn. I guess we'll see what happens. And like you said, there's no date right now. So we'll just have to wait and see.
That's right.
That's right. So, on that note, let's get back into NXT, which we hadn't even started yet, so actually was a good time to make that story known. We start off NXT. It's Kushida and Leon Ruff already in the ring, like, boom, in the ring, no entrance. And we start off with a Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic match, Smark.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Kushida and Leon Ruff versus Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory of The Way.
That's right.
That's right. And guess who's back, Smark?
Why? Who is back?
You know. It's Beth Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep.
I did notice that because they had, I mean, obviously she had been providing commentary, but they had her in some remote location. Mm-hmm. She's out there hanging with Jesse Ventura off the grid.
Yep. Back live.
I wonder what becomes of her stunt double that they were using for pay-per-views.
I don't know, man. Probably back sitting ringside, I guess. I don't know.
It's so odd because like of all the like you have just hundreds upon hundreds of blondes like on your employ or in your employ, and you decide to bring out a just random ass redhead to cover her spot.
Well, listen, just sit there and move your lips. That's all we need you to do. No. Don't really speak. Just move your lips every now and then. Okay? Okay.
Exactly. Talk for long periods of time without providing any actual content.
Yes.
And we'll be doing the Beth Phoenix commentary challenge.
Yes, just word a song in your head and just mouth it out. Mouth it out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There you go. Who knows what she was saying down there? Nah, you know what? Though? This was a good starting match. A really good starting match, actually, right here. Kushida and Ruff have great chemistry together. And I'll tell you, I was shocked when I saw Kushida standing up for the win with Gargano on the ground.
Yeah, I think that whole result in general, but specifically that, was pretty surprising. I thought that they were like, I had mentioned this last week, they were sort of choreographing a finals or semifinals, rather, between The Way and the Undisputed Era, but that's apparently not the case.
No, well, with those two teams being out, they can do that on their own. I just think it's weird. Probably two of the favorites are out of this thing. So
I think the Era is still in. I could be wrong, but I think the Era is still in.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, because they beat Breeze and Fandango.
Breeze and Fandango. That's right. You're right. I am wrong. You are correct. I am sorry. It will happen again. But yeah, I was shocked to see Kushida getting that win over, especially over Gargano. I could see him getting the win over Theory, maybe, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm hoping they got a great push going for Kushida because that motherfucker is a talented dude.
Mm-hmm.
So,
as you put it, the Superman of SmackDown, just running out for the random saves.
Oh yeah, all the time. Just he's the savior of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to even the odds. So,
yeah, that's right. Speaking
of evening the odds, Pete Dunne does a little video promo on Finn Balor. It was good. Still, I just don't know why Pete Dunne is yellow. I just don't. Anyway, you got anything on that, Smark?
It's one of wrestling's greatest mysteries. My theory is just a little bit too much carrots.
I mean, that and how big is Batista's dick are going to go down as the two major questions in wrestling.
Exactly.
And I hope they both stay a mystery. We get Malcolm Bivens once again backstage with Tyler Rust, and they're being interviewed. Rust had just come out of Regal's office and has a match with Bronson Reed.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm wasn't too happy about that. He's like, not exactly the way I would have gone, but we'll work it out. We'll work it out.
I did appreciate that part. I like that they really seem intent on pounding the diamond in the rust thing. I'm not down with that so much, but I did like him just kind of turning to him and them still picking it up on camera and be like, well, I wouldn't have gone that way, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, and the diamond in the rust thing is weird, but it doesn't make sense, but I guess it does. I mean, if you scratched a bunch of diamonds don't rust, so I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, that's later. Now, Karrion Kross came out with Scarlett in some new headgear.
Yes.
Yes, she did. I don't give a shit. She still looked hot as shit.
Absolutely.
And Karrion went up against Ashante Adonis. This was a quick squash with Kross winning. Would have been quicker, except Kross kind of likes to toe around the ring and be brooding and slow. He's a little Orton-ish when it comes to that.
A little bit. There's also like a little bit of a I guess miscommunication or something, where he went for the pinfall, but I guess his shoulders weren't completely on the mat or his legs weren't down or something, because the referee hesitated for half a second.
Yes.
Said something to him, and then he readjusted the pin a bit, and she ended up counting.
Well,
so I don't know exactly what that was about.
I actually have that as a note. It looked like Adonis's arm was under the rope, and that's why she held on a second, but Kross didn't pull it back in, but he just he wasn't moving, basically.
Right.
He wasn't moving, and I think she just said, fuck it, I'm counting. Fuck it, I'll count. Okay. But
well, that's kind of a weird thing that they do, is that they have the referees, they specifically tell them to referee it as though it were a shoot. So they're trying to protect the integrity of the officiating, but they're also do as little as humanly possible to establish them as actual people. They never say their names or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, she could have got a quick message in her ear, count, for all we know, who knows, but yeah, I noticed that too. I saw that kind of hesitation of counting, and I think it's because his arm was under the rope, but, out of the rope, which technically is out of bounds, so, Kross did attack Desmond Troy while he was in there checking on Adonis, and put him in a, straitjacket. Mm-hmm. That guy's brutal, man. I really like that guy.
Yes, indeed. I like him quite a bit, too.
Yeah, it makes me wish I had watched more of him before he got here, but I got him here now, and looking forward to seeing a lot more of him.
Yeah, I mean, he was on Lucha Underground. He was on Impact for a little bit. He didn't do too much indies that I saw. He was in GCW for a hot second. Had a bit of a little mini feud with Nick Gage. That was interesting. I mean, they put on a pretty good match, I got to say. They had 2 matches. They were both pretty good.
All right. Nice. Hey, Mr. Smith, welcome to the chat room, sir. Long time no see, exactly.
He's just one of those people, though, that you see him. I could tell as soon as I saw him on fucking Impact. Not so much on Lucha Underground, but when I saw him on Impact, I was like, yeah, this guy's going to he's going somewhere that's a lot more important than Impact in the very near future.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't long. Like I said, you didn't hear his name too much, and then suddenly he was in WWE or NXT, so...
Well, it's funny because they did there's a Bloodsport event during Mania weekend where we were still allowed to do such things. And there was a picture that came out of Regal and Ambrose at the time, but Moxley now, sitting there watching him, or watching from the balcony where nobody else could be there. They were scouting talent, and I knew for sure. I was like, yep, he is fucking getting signed. That is why they are there, absolutely 100%. And then sure enough, not too long after that, he was there.
I remember that picture, actually. I do. I remember that picture. I remember seeing that.
Which was interesting in hindsight, because I thought Moxley was there to help scout talent or whatever, but he was actually there because he was probably feeling nostalgic, because it wasn't too long after that then he was out there on his own.
Yeah, you got a good point there. You got to really, yeah, you're right. And like I said, I remember that picture being out there. So, hey, Logan, what's up, buddy? Got the whole family back here behind me suddenly. Look, my son's dancing for you guys. Look,
whole gang.
Little kiss on the cheek from my man there.
Getting some dabs.
Yeah. He's dancing behind me. God. You realize the only person that can see that is the one person I'm talking to. Everyone else is just not knowing what's going on the actual radio here. Okay, go. All right. Okay. He thought we were on video. He's disappointed now and left. All right. I'm sorry about that, folks. What are you going to do? MSK did a I labeled it a get to know us video package.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Oh my.
No, this door is fucked up again.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about that last week, and I was curious as to what they were going to do with them, and then my optimism was kind of crushed when the video started out with them doing Borat impressions for no apparent reason. I was like, oh boy, they're not going to be long for this world.
They'll be all right, man. They're talented, which should push them pretty good. We'll see what happens. I mean, they're going to start off goofy a little bit, but we'll see. Let's give them a shot. I'm going to give them a shot because I don't know much about them anyway.
Oh, I have faith in them. I just don't have faith in WWE doing comedy gimmicks all that much outside of like R-Truth.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a lot of R-Truth, but after that video package, we got another good promo video package with Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez. I like that one. That was pretty good, too, by them. Not really much to say on that. Just a quick little video package. Now, Lucha House Party had a match after that with Imperium. It was another Dusty Classic match. Dude, what a fucking match.
Yes, it was very, like, the more I keep seeing it, and we talked about it like 2 weeks ago when they had the title match with Metalik. Like, the more I keep seeing them when they're actually allowed to wrestle, easy for me to say, I keep wondering, like, why it is that they just had them be complete fucking jokes for the better half of the last, like, year or two.
I don't know, man. But these guys right now they killed it with Imperium in the fucking ring. And you got Imperium who aren't really high flyers. Did a couple of moves though. Had a couple.
Yeah, that sweet tandem drop kick, one from the outside, one from the ring.
Yeah, that was nice. And then you got but those guys are not known for being high flyers. And obviously Lucha House Party. So the chemistry though was fucking amazing with these guys. Lucha House Party did get the win. I got a feeling they're going to be in the finals.
Maybe.
I think so. I think that's why they moved him over there. And Alexander Wolf made his return after the loss.
Yes, he was none too pleased.
No, but then they just saluted, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. So, all right, then we get the quick weigh-ins for the Ciampa and Thatcher match, the fight pit match. I guess I misspelled pit. I guess mine says fight pot. My phone knows me so well. This was a bit UFC-ish. They attacked each other and everything. I get what they were doing, but
right,
a little corny. But I get it. I
could see that, man.
I get it. But let's go ahead and go to this women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics, Mark, the kickoff. Regal introduces Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix comes out, give a little history on some of the women that have been there and are now flourishing over there on SmackDown and Raw. And they turn the lights on. All the women are up there. And it's Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. Let's just call them Casey and Casey. Casey squared. How's that?
Team
Casey squared versus Mercedes Martinez and Toni Storm. I like this match too, man. I thought this was again, after watching NXT, the ratings shocked me a little bit. Certainly the match did not need piped-in crowd noise. I don't know why did you notice that?
Not so much. I got to be honest. I waited till, when they were doing the actual wrestling, I was like listening to other things. And I would just, the only thing I actually listened to were the promos. So I didn't catch necessarily the piped in crowd noise, but the Beth Phoenix promo, I got a good laugh out of that because I was like, well, I'll check it out for a minute. And then I realized that it was basically her just naming people off of a list.
Uh-huh.
Because it was just like, well, you got Sasha Banks and you've got Bayley and and I was like, all right, she's just going to name people, isn't she? Mm-hmm. And sure enough, that's pretty much what she did. But yeah, so this, like you said, it was a good match. We'll talk some more about that.
I actually thought it was a really good match. It started out a little bit slow. I think it was Toni Storm and Caden Carter Started out a little slow, a little even choreographed looking, very choreographed looking, and then suddenly everyone picked up. Like 5 minutes later, it picked up. Io attacked Mercedes from behind at one point, kind of getting her back, took her out. And what the fuck was that finishing move by Casey?
Yeah, that was pretty interesting, wasn't it?
That was like 2 flips with a spin, like a 1.5 with a twist. It was I couldn't even count what she did. I was like, good God.
That's definitely her strong suit. Like she's kind of small and she's kind of, she's very petite, but she, that's part of what gives her the advantage in the whole athletic background with the Ninja Warrior stuff. She can do some things that not everybody can do, and she's very good with the whole athleticism, those kind of flips and dives. She did a pretty cool, like, twisting, like body splash, I guess, from the top out to the ring, or out to the floor rather, during the match. That was a pretty good one. She's really good at that. It seemed like before she left that she was definitely like a push was coming for her, but then she decided she didn't want to do it. And now she decides that she does want to do it. So she's kind of, working her way back to being in a good spot with them. And I guess this is kind of the first step to that, having them win this match.
Yeah, and I was another one though. This was another whoa! Can't believe those two won over again. I think Mercedes and Tony were the favorites in the women's side. So
sure. One of them for sure, to be sure. I had unfortunately saw the result on Twitter while we were doing the show Wednesday, so I knew this was coming. But the match itself was actually still pretty good, even though I knew the outcome. But I think all 3 of the matches were kind of surprises in my book, honestly.
Yeah, definitely a surprise. You're right. All of them were. But anyway, great match. Like I said, those girls ended up having good chemistry. It started off a little bit slow, like I said, but they definitely ended up kicking ass by the end of the match. And I thought the match turned out great. That finishing move was something else. Then we go to this Tyler Rust and Bronson Reed. Before this match, we got Isaiah Scott kind of coming up to Bronson Reed and saying, don't ever get in my business again, blah, blah, blah. Then we had Tyler Rust versus Bronson Reed. Reed won. I got to tell you, I knew he was going to win, but I thought the only way Tyler Rust had a chance is I figured Scott was going to come down and interfere. And he didn't.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like that's what they were setting up, but then it just never quite paid off.
No.
I guess they're doing sort of a slow burn on this feud, I guess, which is an interesting choice, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. But, all right, so I got to tell you, man, that Bronson Reed coming off that fucking top rope with that splash, I don't care. You can tell me wrestling's fake all you want. I would not want that guy landing on me. That is a big dude. That is a lot of weight coming down. Holy shit.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that can't feel great. Honestly, it was a really good splash, though, I will say.
Wow. Yeah, definitely.
And then, funny enough, right after Kurt Stallion loses this here match, they announced that he's going to be getting a title shot.
Yeah.
For the Cruiserweight title.
For the Cruiserweight title, absolutely. Wow. Michael Smith with a really controversial statement here. Gender sucks. Wow. I mean, I agree, but really controversial. Then we get the next segment with Jesus Christ, Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. Actually, it was the 3 of them: Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Cole, Page, Cole. I forget which Adam it was. Which Adam was this? This is
Cole.
Cole.
Page is the cowboy.
Right. Cole. I messed up my Adams. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, it is what it is.
They both got long hair and kind of look alike. Let's be honest here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can happen. Anyway, Finn's in there. He's talking to Kyle O'Reilly and never really told him what was going on and basically just said, "Are you in or you're out?" And Kyle O'Reilly said, "I'm in." What the hell did...
I got dog problems over here. Give me just a second to fix that. But Yeah, Finn was on the lookout for a tag team partner, and I do like how I didn't even think about it until you pointed it out. But basically, we're relying on the fact that the Undisputed Era is supposed to know exactly what's going on when they've established that nobody on their show watches their own product. Because the only people that have actually said anything about we've seen the show are people in AEW.
Yeah, exactly. We watched the show back. We saw what happened.
I do like the little bit where like Beller comes in and he's sassing a little bit, and Roger's like, "Hey, who do you think?" And like Cole just immediately cuts him off and just like stop talking.
Yeah.
Like, all right, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. I'll let him talk. I got you. Okay. You could literally plug anyone in that spot. Anyway, you could have plugged Austin Theory in that spot, and I'd be like, wait, did Roderick Strong grow a couple inches? Interesting. Anyway, they did figure it out in this little odd segment between them, and we are going to get them teaming up next week, which, I mean, it was kind of obvious that's where they're going. Everyone who feuds like that ends up teaming up for a while. So, yeah, kind of obvious. Anyway, after that, Santos Escobar telling us what a great champion is and how good of a champion he is and what a champion is. And then he starts talking shit on Karrion Kross, which... Did that seem out of nowhere to you?
Yes and no. I mean, he did put down, like, he basically took shots at everybody that was champion. I forget what he said about Gargano, but he said something about Gargano, and then he mentioned that Balor has a glass jaw. Yeah. And he also took a shot at Kross not being able to defend the title when he won it, which does seem a little bit out of place because I don't think they ever have any intention of like having those two feud. But, you know, you feel like kind of the kayfabe nature of things is that Kross, I mean, they've already established that Kross just goes after people who talk shit about him. So, like, it should stand to reason that he just got done talking shit about him, that Kross is going to appear and beat the shit out of him. But we're probably not going to get that. But, like, so then it does seem a little bit weird, not a place.
Yeah. And then Lucha House Party comes down and it's a brawl. And then comes Kurt Stallion to even the odds.
That's right.
So I see a little six-man coming here with Santos Escobar and his guys versus Lucha House Party and Kurt Stallion.
Could be. It'd be pretty fun, I guess.
Well, I would figure that's why they brought in another guy.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll find out what happens on that shit right there. And we got McKenzie talking to Killian and Drake. She asked Killian Dane a question, and Drake Maverick steps in and rattles off a fucking novel.
Certainly does.
I really like these two together, man. I know they're a little annoying, and I know it's kind of getting old, but I like Drake, and Killian is such the opposite. It's the odd couple thing that wrestling loves to do, but I like these two together, man. I just think they got great chemistry.
Yeah, I mean, like you kind of mentioned, they've done this in some iteration, seemingly since the beginning of time. But I do like that combination of just two guys that don't belong together, but they purposely mention that instead of just being like, it doesn't make sense that these guys are pairing, but we won't talk about that. Like, you know, the one that always comes to my mind is Al Snow and Steve Blackman. I always like that pairing. And like I like that. I like the whole comedic pairing of like the guy who's more serious and the guy that's a bit of a fuckhead, that kind of thing.
Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
Yep. So
they won last year, as a matter of fact.
Yes, they did. I knew that. That's why I said that. But anyway, these two together to me are fucking gold. Keep them together for a little while longer. When they feud, it's going to suck. It's going to be awful. But that's not happening yet. Anyway, now, let's get into this main event, Smart. And I got to admit something. I've never seen this fight pit before.
Yes. It's the second time they did it.
I know. I was never really a habitual NXT watcher before we added this show and started doing this. My first time seeing this fight pit. And this is pretty badass. This is pretty fucking badass. It was Ciampa versus Thatcher, obviously. And here were the rules. Decision must happen in the pit. There's no pinfalls. And you must win by submission or knockout only.
That's right.
And I don't now. The reason I knew it only happened once before Smark is because I think they mentioned it about 50 times.
I mentioned in the show last week. It actually, for whatever it's worth, it did happen while we were covering the weekly shows. We were covering NXT at the time, but the show that they did it on, the last time they did Fight Pit, was a show where we had Bobby on too. So we did a bit of a special show. We didn't talk too much about wrestling that night, I remember. So that explains why we did not cover the first Fight Pit. But I did watch it, and I thought it was really good. I actually thought the first one was a little bit better than this one. Not to say that this one was bad. I really liked this one. But more than anything, I really liked the design, the way that the Fight Pit is built. Because I think there's a lot of opportunity to do all kinds of different moves and different spots and things like that. They were a lot more inventive for the sort of things that you could do and the different kind of moves that you could explore in different scenarios and whatnot in this one than they were in the first one. They didn't take quite as much advantage of the top platform, the first match, which was a big part of the second match.
Yeah, it's kind of like a scaffold match mixed with a cage match. Get a kind of little of both there, a little best of both worlds, if you will. But man, this match was fucking a great, brutal match, man. One of the really cool moves in it was Ciampa using the referee as leverage when he did the DDT. Thatcher had a crazy looking leg hook on Ciampa, and Thatcher did pick up the win here, which I thought was the right move. But good God, man, hell of a fucking match. These guys are fucking two brutal bastards, man.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a really good match. I liked it. It just, like we always like to talk about, is two guys just fucking laying it in there. And that they did. You know, they've already had a pretty kind of long-standing feud, so it was really nice to see. I don't know if this is the payoff to it or what, but it was nice to see Thatcher pick up the win, because last time Ciampa picked up the win, Thatcher was on a little bit of a skid, honestly, so it was nice to see him get kind of his momentum back, as it were.
How Timothy Thatcher got his groove back.
That is right. Interesting enough, I don't know what happened, and I don't know why it is this way, because they were not on the original bracket, so I'm assuming whoever was in their place originally, and I forget who, there must have been an injury or something, or a reshuffling, because on tonight's episode, it just got done airing, actually, of 205 Live. They're doing a Dusty Classic match, and you've got Tony Nese and Daivari. They're taking on Thatcher and Ciampa. So Thatcher and Ciampa are now in the Dusty Classic, which they were not before, and I don't know how the hell that happens, but I'm interested in it anyway.
Because the rules are there are no rules.
That's right.
We
they
will
just
make
randomly enter.
Yes, we will make the rules as the rules come up. And if you complain, well, maybe you shouldn't be watching. Can't you just enjoy it and shut the fuck up?
I do like that, because that's pretty much been their stance of like, well, then just why watch it? And then everybody was like, all right, good point. It's like, no, guys, come back. You can play it all you want to.
Hey, we told you not to watch, no, but we didn't mean it. I mean, it's like Elias. No, I didn't mean for you not to interfere. I meant for you to interfere. Okay.
There's like this old bit on The Simpsons where like Homer turns to the camera and it's like, I dare you to turn this off, and then somebody turns it off and they go to commercial.
Yeah, kind of like that, I guess. But I mean, that was it for NXT right there, man. When I saw the ratings, I was a little shocked. I thought great show. I really enjoyed watching NXT more than I did AEW this week.
Yeah, I thought there was a little bit more going on. It was paced better too, I think. But like every match was good and every segment served its purpose. There was nothing that really felt like it was wasting time.
Right.
And I hate to say it, but I think that the big part of that had to do with the fact that there was no like long drawn out segment with the way. I think that's what they've been doing. That's been kind of hurting them a little bit, is that they'll have them out there just kind of talking about nothing for like 5 minutes, and that kind of kills it a little bit. But yeah, everything flew together pretty well, worked together properly, so that was good.
Sorry, little busy there for a second.
It happens. It happens.
But, yeah, good show.
Antox on the spot here. Ashanti Adonis got dropped thanks to Cross, air quotes, injuring him. So they're working that into
okay. I got it now. Thank you, Antox, as usual, sir.
Yes.
All right. So I guess we can go ahead and get into SmackDown, right? No, let's get this over with.
Yeah. I didn't think it was all that bad, but we'll get into it.
Well, my problem with the show is it was one of the most predictable shows from the beginning.
That is true.
You knew you knew what the end was going to be within the first 15 minutes of the show. You knew. Roman came out, him and Heyman, they're kicking off the show, obviously. They're not happy. Kevin Owens was substituted. Roman calls Pierce a puss, which I was a little taken back. I was like, whoa, did he just say puss? I actually rewound it. I said, did he say wuss or puss? He said puss. Complaining about his injuries, blah, blah. His back hurts from carrying this company on his back for years. I like that line, actually.
Yeah, for some reason, I kind of liked it, too. I found it a bit funny when you had Roman just going, well, I don't know, maybe my back hurts. Maybe I'm not going to wrestle. Maybe there's not going to be a title defense at the Royal Rumble. Yeah. Like, I just liked him being, like, pouty and bratty.
That's exactly.
It kind of made me laugh.
Exactly what he was like. He was like, maybe I won't do it either. Like a fucking 5-year-old. But I did like that. Now, when Pierce came down, which he did, obviously, this is where the promo got a little Cena-like.
Well, it was funny because he comes out and he goes, like, all right, you're going too far now. It's like, no, he's just doing the same exact shit that you did. He's going to pull out of a match. That's what you did.
Yeah.
How is it okay for you, but, like, out of line for him?
Rules for thee, not for me. It's the way it goes. It's the way it goes sometimes. But
You've got this parenting shit down.
That's just a nice way to say do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly.
So, but this promo got Cena-ish just in the way Roman was talking about how tough he is. How I don't back down. I don't take days off. I don't do this. God damn it. I'm motherfucker. That's who I am. It just felt Cena-ish to me. And then thank God Heyman got on the mic.
Right.
Heyman got on the mic because Pierce basically said, I can handle Roman stuff, but I ain't going to take your shit, Paul.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, I was hoping that Heyman was just going to deck him. Like, for some reason, they just decided this was going to be the episode where Heyman gets to unleash all his pent-up fury from having to be, like, treated like shit by Brock and by Roman. Because you even had Heyman come out and he's like, all right, don't be confused with the character that I portray. I'm from New York, and I'm not going to take your shit.
Yeah.
Like, all right, like, let's go, Heyman.
He even said, I'll whoop your ass.
Yeah, that's what he said. I'll whoop your ass. And he said it like that, too, which was kind of jarring, but...
Yep, he did. Heyman challenged him, and Pierce accepted. And now we get to spend the rest of SmackDown waiting for the line, card subject to change. Seriously, this is where I really think they killed themselves, because the show is predictable from here. How many times did Roman say in the beginning of the promo, card subject to change, huh? Card subject to change, blah, 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 blah. And the card subject to change. The name of the fucking SmackDown was probably card subject to change.
Could have been, yeah.
So you knew what was going to happen. You knew Paul Heyman was going to come down somehow, do something, and you knew, and it didn't disappoint. And even the little, we'll get to the other thing in a few minutes where they tried to swerve us a little bit. I don't think you bought it, or I don't think anybody bought it.
Not really.
Now, after all that, we get Sami Zayn. When they come back from commercial, he's outside the ring. He has a sign saying "Justice for Sammy." Then he handcuffs himself to the barricade. And then he's complaining about his loss to Cruz last week, how Cruz pulled the tights. We did say last Friday night we're going to get some bitching about this. We knew this was going to all turn. Now, the other side of his sign said Sammy, S-A-M-I, stand against moral injustice. So, he looks like a dictator, but is really just an activist.
Yes.
Is pretty much what I would guess from the character.
Yeah, but no, I think that pretty much sums it up perfectly, honestly.
He's honestly better Antifa than Retribution.
I mean, yeah, he definitely does the sort of political undertones, overtones, what have you, better than they do, or that they were doing even. Yeah. But
yeah. So I don't know. With this, we'll get into more of this later because he's down there for a few matches. So after all that, Asuka's music comes out literally right in the middle of Sammy talking. It's going to be Asuka and Charlotte versus Liv and Ruby Riott with their new, at least for tonight, manager, Billie Kay. And Natalya and Tamina are, for some reason, watching backstage. No one cares. And Charlotte pins Ruby. Charlotte wins, LOL. I mean, come on.
For the last 47 months, she's been looking at the lights to get new talent over. Did you not hear her?
Yeah. I heard you. I heard you. Now you're going to come back and win every fucking match. Okay, we get it. But, I mean, not really a lot happened here, except right after the match, they did Liv and Ruby did end up firing Billie Kay. So.
It seems so weird, and like I get the whole idea they're having the women's tag team champions go all over the place, but it just seems so weird that they both are in storylines that are very kind of personal and very kind of distracting from like defending their titles and having their title. Like they never mention that they're even the tag team champions like during their angles on Raw. And like they're almost never seen together anymore nowadays, so it just seemed very sort of weird to see them together, like as though everything was perfectly fine and nothing was going on with them. After what we saw, on Monday, with the continuation of the Charlotte Lacey Evans feud, and then the whole whatever that was between Asuka and Alexa.
Yeah, Lacey was just kind of non-existent tonight. I didn't think of that, but you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we take a week off from that. Rick's recovering with a saline drip to rehydrate himself.
Been there.
No, who hasn't? Get some liquid IV, folks. Very good at hydration. Seriously, Costco, $30. Oh, they just came out with some new flavors. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
They actually have a apple pie one, which I really want to try.
See, I feel like this is the lane that we need to pursue if ever there were an opportunity for sponsorship deals. Just fucking liquid IV, breathalyzers, ankle bracelets. I mean, this is the brand that we're cultivating here.
I can tell you how to get away with some shit. Anyway, after all that, let's just move on. Let's just move. Let's just go to Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan came out not dressed to wrestle. He's hyping up the Rumble. He's hyping up Mania a little bit. Cesaro interrupts and reminds us that he's the first Andre the Giant Memorial winner. I completely forgot.
Yeah, I think honestly you mentioned this last week. I could be wrong, but I something like that. Yeah,
Weebs mentions Pedialyte. Weebs, I do the Pedialyte. I do. I like the Pedialyte, especially on a after a good hangover morning. I like to drink the Pedialyte, but the problem is my kids like it too.
Well, we've talked about this on the show before, though, is that I've seen the latest commercials from them, and they're not even denying it anymore. Mm-hmm. They're like, Pedialyte, it's for kids, but it tastes so good that adults can enjoy it too. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Well, it's also good when you're, like, if you have the flu.
Right.
And it's very good when you have, like, basically, fuck it, I'll just say it. Like, if you have diarrhea, it is good to keep yourself hydrated because you're losing a lot of hydration.
Sure.
And that it's good for that, too. Mm. But when I get the flu or if I get, like, a bad cold, I dehydrate so fast. That's what puts me in the hospital, is I dehydrate so fast. I think it's because I drink so much. I'm already dehydrated.
I run into this similar problems because when I get sick, I usually end up getting a sore throat. Of course, they recommend that, you drink a lot of fluids and everything, but when you have a hard time swallowing, anything, fluids, liquids, food, anything like that, it's hard to drink a lot of anything when you're going to be in pain the entire time. It's very inconvenient.
Yeah, what I usually do is I will take the bottle of melatonin, I'll put it in my room, I'll pop melatonin and drink a fucking NyQuil and just sleep. And I'll literally sleep too much. And then next thing you know...
That always helps.
Yeah, well, next thing you know, it's been 14 hours and I haven't had a drink. And then I get up, I take a shower, I get back to sleep, and next thing you know, 24 hours, I haven't had any liquid, and next thing you know, I'm in the fucking hospital with a goddamn IV in my arm.
Yeah, that can be a problem for sure.
Yeah. How did we go from Cesaro being the Memorial winner to this? Anyway.
That is a wonderful question.
Anyway, we've mentioned Pedialyte, and I know I do get my private stash. Next thing you know, my kids find that shit. My kids are good at finding shit. They're like, "Oh, where did this come from?"
I think you're gonna have to start putting in things that would like deter them from being in there. So like I don't know. I was gonna go pretty lewd, but I'm actually gonna walk it back. Because at first I was gonna say like a dildo, but I think if you just put like a pair of like your underwear in there, they're not gonna want to touch Dad's underwear.
Like a vacuum or a broom, maybe.
Yeah. Damn kids.
That would work for my kids. They'd be like, "Ooh, vacuum! Ah,
yeah,
not a vacuum. I don't want to do anything." That's my kids. Anyway, let's see what happens here. Oh, after Cesaro reminded us about the Andre the Giant thing, Ziggler interrupts and tells us he's number 2. As soon as he said number 2, I was like, "Shut the fuck up!" Fucking number 2. Oh, fuck, you are a number 2. But it ends up being Cesaro versus Ziggler, with Cesaro picking up the win, which didn't surprise me much, but because really you got 2 guys in there who they do the same thing to. They give them a push, they stop, they push, they stop, they push, they stop. It doesn't matter who wins. No one's going far in this little pairing.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me at all that Cesaro won, but it did surprise me a little bit how quick it was. Because I was like, oh, this is a pretty good match. Should be in for a good one here, and just kind of buckle in. But then it was over pretty quickly, and I was like, because I had forgotten that they don't really give a shit about the tag team titles. I was like, well, Ziggler is tag team champ, so they'll probably let him get at least a decent match in. No. I was like, nope, fuck that shit.
No, not at all. Not at all. What? Well, come on. No. Why? DSD, don't drink in moderation. DSD, don't stop drinking. That's what we should change it to. Don't stop drinking.
I like
it. Anyway, after all that, Cesaro picked up the win, like I said. We get Sasha versus Reginald. Now, it took me a minute, but I decided to look up Reginald because I said, okay, I remember talking about this guy. He was the one that worked for Cirque du Soleil. Which is why when you see him doing the flips and he kind of looks like he's dancing, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because basically that's what he was doing. He was out there dancing with Sasha.
Well, I mean, he almost kind of had to, because they're not going to show, a guy beating up a woman. That they've made that stance that,
right.
Intergender matches or not, usually they say that they're not going to do them. They're never going to do them. They decided to do this one. So you got to figure out a way to be kind of creative with what you can do. So they had him basically just dodging every one of her moves until like the very end. And then he would have tried to attempt a move and she would counter out of that or what have you. So.
Yeah. I mean, I Michael Smith says, threaten my kids. You touch my stuff, I'm taking away your Xbox. I'd have to take away the Switch, the PS4, their phones.
But then that also becomes not worth it, because then you have bored kids running around causing havoc and making noise and disturbing the peace.
Yeah.
That was always a paradox for my mom, too.
Yep. You can take it, and then whose fault is that? So, yeah. And Trust me, and walking you to school, walk him to school in my robe and slippers. Like, oh,
there you go.
Uncle Buck approach. I like that one. My wife did that this morning. She's like, I'll be back. I'm going to take Dylan to school in pajamas. You don't get out of the car anymore. You just pull up, they get out, you drive away. That's all it is.
That was the case when I was in school too.
Yeah,
I could just get out of the car and go on into class.
Oh, dude, you can't even, like, if your kid, if my kid forgets his glasses, they don't care. You cannot bring him glasses. They'll let you know that he forgot his glasses, and then they're like, well, nothing you can do about it. Thanks.
There you go.
It's like, oh, I appreciate that, old wonderful school. Anyway, back to this little match with Reginald. I got to tell you, though, Reginald is a talented guy.
Yes.
I think he can be used for a lot more than what they've got him doing right now. I think they might have just wanted to get him out there and see how the crowd reacted to him. Well, not the crowd, how the fans on television, the television fans reacted to him. But you could see he's a very talented guy. I mean, doing backflips off the fucking apron and shit. I think when we finally do see him really get out there and wrestle a match, it's going to be something worth seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how they're going to do it. If they're going to take him off TV for a while or whatever. But, like, to some degree, and, she's like the top of the elite caliber in her, field or what have you, the women's division. She's a women's champion. But if you just have him getting beat up all the time, regardless of who's doing it, you have him looking like a dork. So it's like, when he actually does get into actual matches and then you potentially have him win, then that also makes the other person look like a dork. So it's like, what are you going to do? How are you going to make him, if you do start having him wrestle actual matches, regardless of wherever it is, how do you build up any sort of credibility would be my question.
Yeah, I'm not expecting them to do this too much.
Sure.
I hope they're not, but they can. Once, maybe even twice would be fine, but then they've got to do something with this guy. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we will definitely see what happens, but I am definitely curious to see what more this guy can give us out there. So there you go. And this is the little swerve they tried to do tonight with Roman and Heyman. Roman tells Roman's back there telling Heyman, "Look, I handed you the mic because I thought you were going to rip him verbally. You're on your own." Basically, he said to sum it up, "You're on your own, bro. Handle your business."
That's right.
Basically. And I wasn't buying it for any. I wasn't buying it. I don't think anybody did.
No, not at all. Like you said, that was the problem. Like, even that, though, like, I didn't even think about it until I started kind of, when you said things are really predictable, even sort of running down the card, the matches and how they played out were predictable, too.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't bad. But, like, we just talked about, we didn't think that Cesaro was going to lose. Nobody in their right mind thought that Sasha was going to lose unless there was a maximum amount of fuckery involved.
Right.
And, like, the next couple of matches that are coming up, too, that we're going to talk about, I think they had sort of obvious winners, which I think a lot of them did play out that way.
Yeah, and I mean, really, whoa, I got a quick echo there. The next match, it's gone already. What the fuck happened there? It might have been in my ear. The next match was Big E versus Apollo Crews. Now, remember, Sammy was down there bitching about Apollo Crews, how he got the win last week, how he pulled the tights, blah, blah, blah. Just want to let that simmer for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Turn down the flame, let it simmer for a second. So, you get Big E and Apollo Crews. Once again, Big E did that goddamn splash on the apron. I get scared every time he does that. He's such a big fucking guy.
Mm-hmm.
I get nervous. I'm nervous for him and the guy underneath him. For both of them. But he seems to know what he's doing, so good for him. Now, Sammy released himself and attacked both guys. This match did end in nobody won, right?
Right, yeah, it was no contest,
right.
Basically.
Right, I walked away for a minute and I came back, and this was. I just wanted to make sure before Antox had to correct me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, again, Sammy once again. That was really predictable once this match started. Once they announced Apollo, I'm like, oh well, we know what's going to happen here, and
right.
It happened. And it was a very predictable show. Very predictable show.
I have to make an amendment on something that I said last week.
Uh-oh.
Because I said that the only thing Big E needed, because he had his nice little comfy sweater on, he brought out a couch. He was just kick back, chilling and relaxing, all cool, shooting some people outside of the school. But I said the only thing that he needed was some snacks. What I did not see, and what I saw later in gift form, he had a fucking mini fridge behind the couch.
Oh, okay.
So he had an arsenal of food and beverage.
He had a mini fridge. He had a Ghostbusters sweater. He was ready to Netflix and chill.
Mm-hmm.
All by himself.
That's right.
Poor guy. Might want to call Natty's sister. And if you're not watching the channel with those two girls on it on YouTube, you are missing out on some very fun, loving, sisterly love stuff.
Sweet home Alabama. Yeah. I mean, I will say it's sort of in line with one of the unfortunately most popular categories on the old X videos that you frequent so much.
Thank you for not calling me a Pornhub guy. I appreciate that. And way to remember.
I say that as a Pornhub guy.
I believe pretty much anytime you just pop on the sites now, it's all just stepmom, stepsister, sister.
That is the fucking problem because, and I don't know how to ease into this, but it doesn't matter what you search. Because there have been times where, like, and especially, God help you, if you look up the search term Latina. Because you either get racism or incest. Like, it's like, take your pick. You're either watching somebody fuck a maid or an illegal immigrant or their sister.
Okay. Add the word big booty and you get a little, you might want to narrow it down a little bit because that'll narrow it down a bit. Okay.
Well, it's like after a while you would think that they would have different professions. Like, none of them are cashiers. None of them could be like waitresses or something.
I'm sure one of them has been to the pawn shop. Maybe they've ordered a sausage pizza is all I'm saying.
The old, well, yeah, that's even better. The pawn shop, because now they're criminals. Because that's what the pawn shop gimmick is that everybody's trying to steal shit. Well, not always. I guess sometimes they're just trying to sell like old fucking flutes and clarinets and shit.
Guess where those go? You do not want to play those instruments. You do not want to play those instruments.
Trombone's particularly rusty.
No, old Tyler Rusty.
I like how we lost a listener during this discussion.
We usually gain listeners during these conversations.
Somebody has had their fill for the night.
I'm trying to see who it was.
We slightly apologized to whoever we ran off.
I don't know who it was, but I apologized.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Lighten up. Everybody watches it. Calm down. My God. Anyway. Where were we? Owens is cutting a promo in his car. I got to tell you, I like when he does these, man. I really like when he does these. It was all about his family, and he was telling us about his tattoos on his fingers and all this stuff. I really enjoyed this promo by him.
I was a little disappointed the promo didn't end with like the camera panning out a little bit more, and then in the passenger seat, it's this Ryback eating some like fried chicken or whatever, talking about it. I just, like, in all seriousness, though, I did like this promo. I liked the setting of it too, and I like how he wasn't trying to specifically be this like big brooding badass like how everybody likes trying to be now. He just basically just calm, cool, and collected. He's not yelling or screaming or anything. He's just sitting in his car and he's just like, hey, look, you talk about your family and how important it is to you to kind of preserve the good name of your family. Here are these tattoos that I have, and they're all symbolic of my different family members and what they mean to me. And I'm going to uphold the integrity of my family when we, fight each other at the Royal Rumble. I liked it. I thought it was really well done.
That was a very good description.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I didn't catch all that part, but yeah. I mean, I caught what you said. I didn't catch what he was saying, all that.
He was saying something like his knuckles were his grandparents' initials.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know, so that was kind of interesting to learn.
And then I think one of them was his mom on the two. One grandparent, one mom. Or maybe he did say both grandparents. I didn't I wasn't paying attention. I was watching it, but I wasn't watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I don't blame you at all.
But I do like these I hate to say, but Owens has proven, and so is Drew, that you don't really need these backstage people.
Right.
Maybe one. You don't need many. Just keep Kayla.
Yeah, and I think it also helps when you have different locale, which I understand, again, pandemic, they can only do so much. But when every fucking promo is delivered either backstage or in the ring, it just becomes kind of tedious after a while, regardless of the company.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, it does. And it is. You're right. It's becoming very... And let's face it. I mean, they'd love to fire a few more people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? And keep Kayla and Charlie. That's all you need. Got to keep Charlie.
Sure.
Speaking
you need at least one per show.
Speaking of looking up Latinas. Is right. But yeah, I do like these little promos, and I don't think this is the first one he's done like this in his car. I like these. I like these. I don't know if he just films them and goes, "Hey, can we use this?" or what, but good shit. Street Profits are back with Sonya Deville. They're congratulating her on her new job, and they're asking for a rematch. Sonya basically tells them, "Look, just keep being funny and wait till Montez is healed, and we'll talk later."
Yeah, that was very interesting. That she basically was just like, "No." She's like, "Well, thanks for the fruit basket, but fuck off, guys."
It kind of reminded me of fucking Christmas Story when he walks in with that giant fruit basket for her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought of that movie. Whatever.
If you guys are trying to seduce me, there's something you should know.
See the suit? Okay.
Like, hey, Wade, can you cover this for me? Got some bad news for you, fellas.
Yeah, that would have worked. But yeah, it was basically that's what she said. She said, you need to heal Montez, and then we'll talk later. But basically, she was like, keep being great hype men, and it's like, oh. I don't know if that's the best thing to say, but anyway. Look, they are great hype men, I'm not going to lie, but them being kind of just mascots just doesn't do it for me. You know what? Take them off TV for a while. It's really not going to hurt them, I'll be honest with you.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is I have long said, in my opinion at least, and I feel like there's people that agree, they're a lot better at the wrestling element than they are at the promo element, and it's not even their fault. But they have them doing these comedy promos, and it just comes off as like just a lesser version of like what we get from the New Day. I mean, I hate to make that kind of comparison, but like it's comedy promos, and like we talked about, unless you're R-Truth or unless you're the New Day, they usually tend to be kind of shitty.
Yeah, you're right. But I mean, and they're not bad at the promo thing. They're not. It just, you're right. Sometimes it does feel a little bit forced. Not as much with Montez. I think Montez can pretty much take, chicken shit and make some salad out of it. Mm-hmm. But Dawkins still needs a little. I mean, I think it's his delivery. I really don't. A lot of it's his delivery, and I think it's also what they're writing for his side. I don't know if two different people are writing or if the team or whatever it is, but it seems like he gets the shit end of the writing. And he makes the best of it. I'm not going to lie. He does. But it seems like Montez just, Montez puts, you got the weird facial expressions. He can do the, kind of the little crazy voices and sounds and shit. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's just a little difference there. And it almost seems like they got different writers for those guys.
It could be. Who knows? Yeah, it's hard to say.
I mean, there's 365,000 of them, so.
Yes, whoever's writing for Dawkins was the former head writer of like King of Queens or some shit.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, probably, or some failed soap opera that whatever. I don't even know. What was that? What was that? Days of Our Lives that went off the air. What was that? Something like that.
I think. I don't know. I'm not well versed in my soap opera.
The only one I got to admit, I used to watch General Hospital. I used to come home from school, sit down, and watch General Hospital with my mom. Come on at 3:00 in the afternoon. We would literally get right home like as it was starting, and we would sit there and watch it. I used to sit and watch it with my mom. Then I would go watch cartoons.
I do like how they do have certain kind of like wrestling elements to them. Because you'll have like evil twins show up or just shit like that.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, now it's like Impact. You know, you have shootings and hearts being torn out, which I didn't watch, but I saw that. They just
now fucking wrapped up that gimmick or that angle. Like, the shooting in Impact happened like 2 months ago and just on like the most recent episode.
Yeah. Now, you know what? Real quick. Let's just say that. Now, Taya Valkyrie is supposedly done with Impact.
Yeah, she was the shooter.
Right. She was the shooter. Now, I know her husband is Morrison, John Morrison. You know, Miz and Morrison. I don't know if WWE would pick her up, but I don't know. You think she's going to go anywhere? You think she's going to... I mean, I'm sure AEW would probably pick her up. I mean, I'll be honest with you. AEW could use another beast woman.
Sure.
And she is. She's a again, when I say big girl, I don't mean any disrespect. She is a very jacked girl. So, right. I don't know. What do you think? You think she's going to go... Where would you think she would go?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard to say. Like, you do kind of think that... I think WWE would pick her up, and I do think that she would want to go there just so that, if anything, you know, she could be in closer proximity to her husband. That might not be so important to her or whatever. Because, I mean, if she goes to AEW anyway, Florida is Florida is Florida. It's not like they're super far away at the moment.
Right.
You know, things might change when, you know, shit starts opening up again. That might be something to kind of put into consideration. But I guess to kind of put an end to all of the rambling and just straight up give you a direct answer, I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up in WWE, honestly. AEW would benefit more for her presence, I think, because she can do a little bit of everything. Like you said, she's strong. She can do a little bit of the power stuff. She can do, you know, she came up in AAA, so she can do the lucha style. She's, you know, has a pretty well-faceted skill set.
Yeah, I could definitely see her trying to... I could see definitely going to NXT. And you're right. I think she would be much better used in an AEW. I think NXT right now has plenty of women. Plenty.
Yeah.
So many they don't even know what to do with right now.
That is the thing that's interesting. I think we should talk about this for a minute. Okay. And I hadn't even really considered it until I was like just listening to an episode of The Observer where they didn't really so much talk about it as they just kind of hinted at it. But like, there is a real shortage of like women that they have on Raw and they have on SmackDown, where they basically just have a handful of women, and they're trying to like, you know, kind of scatter them between the tag team division and also, you know, the individual singles title division.
Right.
And it's really interesting that they have like almost at this point an overflow to where they have to put, you know, certain women on the back burner every now and again, you know, stop and start with some of them, but they never call any of them up. And I mean, I get that, you know, sometimes the women in NXT have the same problem that the men do, that, you know, they come in and they get over on NXT and then their push just gets fucking flatlined when they make the quote unquote main roster. But at some point, I feel like you got to start calling some of these women up because you have almost too much talent there.
Yeah, and they signed, what, 2 or 3 more just the other Wednesday we talked about it.
Yeah, 3, I think.
Yeah, so they got more there, and I mean, they've got so many, they just don't know what to do with them anymore. They don't have any plans for them. They could... Right. Surprised they don't have an all-women's show yet, to be honest with you, on the network. I can see it coming. But I don't know, man. I mean, but they do have... Think about it. You're right. On Raw and SmackDown, though, they really do. They only have a handful of women that they push. Like, take SmackDown tonight. Really, how many would we... Bayley's always pushed. Charlotte's always pushed. Asuka's always pushed. Really, the other ones... And that's... Who else?
Right. Well, yeah, well, SmackDown and then Charlotte and Asuka they were coming over for Raw because they were, you know, the tag team champions.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have on SmackDown, and you have Bayley, you have Bianca Belair, Sasha, and then you just have sort of the Riot Squad, Billie Kay. That's it. That's
it. That's the handful.
And there's a handful there, and there's a handful on Raw because, you know, like we said, Asuka, Charlotte, you know, Shayna, Nia, and then Dana Brooke and Mandy. That's about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all they concentrate on. So, yeah, they do need to call up some more, and I don't know why they won't, but maybe after this tournament they might. Maybe after, you know, after the Rumble, or as usual, maybe after Mania, we'll see some some things getting done. So, anyway, since we're sitting here talking about the women, might as well get into the Bayley's obstacle course, Mark.
Yes.
So we get into the Bayley's obstacle course. It's going to be her taking on Bianca Belair. And here we go. We get in. Chad Gable is down there to help. They're going to fireman carry Chad Gable. And the first, I'd say, 3 minutes of this segment was god-awful, with Bayley just going on and on about what to do. She's just, it's getting redundant. But anyway, Bayley goes first. She takes her time. And it's like 1 minute and 12 seconds. And then at the last minute, it's Bianca's turn, and Bayley changes the course.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, watching Bianca Belair fireman carry Otis was fucking hot.
I kind of thought you were going to go there, but I wanted to make absolutely sure. I did not want to interject.
Dude, she just picked him up and walked like nothing, dude. That's a 300-pound guy.
That's right. And they put on commentary that he was 330.
I don't care. 300. Dude, you hit the threes. I'm sorry. She carried him like he was a fucking sack of potatoes. Didn't even fucking flinch. What a badass she is, man. What a fucking badass she is. But she did, like I said, she did that with ease. And then she dunked the basketball on Bayley, who decided to go in there and play some defense.
Indeed. She got D'd up upon.
She did.
But what's interesting is that they kind of established, and I get it. I get why this happened the way that this happened. But based on the way that Bayley ran the course and she read the rules and everything, they established that there was no penalty if you didn't go over the hurdles.
Right. And
it's like Bianca put in unnecessary extra effort to do so. I mean, I get why they did that, but it's still kind of funny.
Yeah. Bayley did a serpentine through the climbing obstacles.
Mm-hmm. She just looked at them and then just walked right on by.
Yeah, the easier way would have been to hop onto the one and just do the old, the old jump off the 1 foot. But I don't know. I'm old. I wouldn't have fucking tried that shit. But they're young, agile. But anyway, this segment was shit.
Kind of.
I mean, Bianca Belair came off great in this segment. Again, watching that fireman's carry was very, very impressive by her.
Only thing that was bad about her in the segment was it looked like she was wearing a one-piece bathing suit from like the 1940s.
She's wearing a tracksuit, dude.
She took it off though. She had like a little like tank top and like connected.
It's a track outfit, like an Olympic track outfit.
Okay.
I would say now that's probably what they look like. Before they were like bikinis.
Well, they still are.
Oh, yeah, you'd see some of those friggin' pole vault girls with fucking asses hanging out from their muscles. Jesus.
Yeah, that's still very much the case. I've been channel surfing and I've stopped many of times.
Yeah, I've stopped. Yeah. Volleyball players too. Very nice, very nice. Anyway, this segment deserves no more time.
Fair enough.
And I was going to just skip this match, but to make Sasha Baron Corbin happy, we did get Corbin. I will not call him king. Corbin versus Dominic Mysterio. Corbin wins. What else you got to say?
Not too much. The kind of theory that's interesting, though, is that Rey Mysterio sort of alluded to seeking outside help last week. And now this week he's talking about if Dominic lost, he was going to do things his way. So next week we're going to see what happens. But the scuttlebutt, the rumors, nothing confirmed, but the hearsay of the matter is that they might potentially end up using this as an opportunity to bring in Damian Priest, which I would love nothing more if Ray just looked dead into the camera and said the only way you can beat Baron Corbin is with Baron Corbin. And then out comes Damian Priest.
I would like that. I would like to see Priest come on up and get right into a storyline where he can actually, I mean, it's not like he's going to make a big difference in it, but at least have something where they can have him on TV. I like that guy. I really do. I think he's a tall dude. He's a jack dude. He's very talented in the ring, can talk. He just sounds like Vin Diesel. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, just keep him from singing, and he'll be all right.
Yeah, give him a really fast car. That, let him be fast and furious. Shave his head. Fuck it. There you go.
That might be something. And then, of course, they'll eventually at some point have The Rock back for something. And they won't be able to resist the opportunity to have, like, Damon Priest cut a promo, and then The Rock just walks in and steals his mic time from him. Like, I'm taking over this franchise. This what? This promo. Okay.
You call me Hobbs from now on, bitch. Yeah, anyway. Anyway. Let's get to this last part and just be done with this SmackDown show and get into the news. I'm actually more interested in talking about the news. Anyway, so it's supposed to be Heyman versus Adam Pearce. Heyman came down. He was taping his hands. Tries to get on the steps, falls twice. And what does he say? The full words I was expecting all night. Card subject to change. Roman's music hits. And it's Roman versus Pearce. Now, I thought this was just going to be a quick beatdown because I was looking at the time. But Owens came out of nowhere once Roman was beating the shit out of Adam Pearce. By the way, Pearce still looking pretty good out there, man.
Yeah.
Did get a little, he got a little offense in, not a lot. And then Roman basically threw him over the guardrail, and we didn't see Pearce the rest of the night. Did we? Not that I remember.
No, that was pretty much it. He just kind of had his way with him for a minute there, and then out came old Kevin Owens for the save.
Yeah, Kevin Owens came out in a hoodie. Couldn't really tell who he was for a second there. Then the hoodie got knocked off. And then we end basically with Owens pretty much taking out Roman, putting him through the announce table. They're trying to pull him apart. He keeps going back. The ending was actually better than I thought it was. I honestly just expected a quick swat. I really wasn't sure Owens was going to come out tonight. I'm glad he did. He made it a better ending, not as predictable as I thought, but from the first few minutes of the show, I knew we were going to get the words, card subject to change.
Yep.
And we did, and really, I got to tell you, it made for a long show because I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. And then, like I was saying, like none of these matches were really all that. Everything was kind of predictable.
Yeah. Yep. Hold on. I need a beer.
Yeah, we all need a beer from time to time.
DSD. Don't stop drinking.
That's right.
Crack that bad boy open. Hopefully, the wife will come in with a shot. She got some vodka tonight.
Ah, nice. Very well. Did you end up trying that thing you were talking about last show?
The
41 or whatever it was called?
No, the 50. No, I never got it. She went to the liquor store, not me.
Ah, okay.
Maybe I'll go during the week and just grab a bottle. I forgot to grab it. But she was out today. I drove everywhere today, dude.
Yeah, you were saying.
I drove all over the fucking place. I was all over Texas. I was from Fort Worth to fucking everywhere. I know no one was like, Fort Worth is 45 minutes from me. Mm-hmm. Then my delivery was 45 minutes away, which took me 40 minutes out of the way from the other place I had to go to. Then I had to drive 30 minutes to another place. Then I had to 20. Now, 20 minutes in Texas, by the way, is right around the corner. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's Texas. 20 minutes right around the corner. Oh, you're right around the corner from me. Dude, I'm 20 minutes away. No, you're right around the corner. 40 minutes is down the road. An hour is fuck you. It's too far.
Interesting.
That's Texas right there. So I drove everywhere today, man. Meanwhile, making money, man. Trying to get this little courier business going. I'm hoping I might need another van soon.
There you go.
I'm hoping I might. If I get this other sort of contract I'm working on, I might need a van and a driver. We shall see. That would be great for me, though. That would be really good. Anyway. That was SmackDown. Again, I'm not saying it was an awful show. It wasn't an awful show. It's just from the time they had that beginning promo. I knew what was going to happen. And it just kind of took me out of the show a little bit, knowing this is exactly how it was going to work out.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I think it's weird to say, but I think what I enjoy about watching SmackDown is just that it's over quicker than Raw. So even if it's sort of a bad or boring show or predictable in this case, it's still like, yeah, but it was over way quicker, and it didn't feel like it was as painful to watch and hard to endure as Raw has been the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you got a point. And yeah, you're right, it is. It's over quicker, but I got to tell you, sometimes it's just as much of a fucking chore. Sometimes it's the same chore to watch SmackDown as it is to watch Raw. Luckily, the ending tonight was good with Owens. I think Owens definitely made the predictable part of that match kind of go away a little bit, and the pull apart at the end and him putting Roman to the table was good shit. It was a good way to end the show because, like I said, we all knew it was predictable. I'm sorry, Smart. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I think they're doing a good job of starting to make it seem a little less predictable in terms of, like, the Royal Rumble match, because when they announced that they were going to do this again last week, I don't feel like a lot of people, myself included, thought that Owens really had much of a chance, but the way that they're building this up, I still would, if I had to put money on, I would still put money on Roman, but they're at least making it look like, who knows, you might end up getting that upset.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I guess we'll see. I guess we will see. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, that might have been too big of a hit. Anyway, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and roll into some news. We can kind of alternate. I'll do one, you do one. Then we got a couple tiny little things to go through after that. Let me go ahead and knock this one out real quick, Smart. WrestleMania 37. They are, which is going to be in Raymond James Stadium over there in Tampa. They are starting to go ahead and sell tickets. Mm-hmm. They are looking to get fans back into the arena, which is a good thing. It's time. It is time. Now, obviously, we're not going to be close to 100% capacity, which is good. There still needs to be. Look, we definitely need to get people back doing some normal things, but we also need to do it safely. I don't want people, I don't want breakouts. I don't want people getting sick. I don't want the movie Outbreak starting. Hopefully we're through the worst of it. Hopefully. Not only is, WWE starting to, AEW's already got fans back. WWE wants to start bringing fans back, but even the other cities are starting to open back up. Restaurants are starting to open back up everywhere, not just in not just in certain places, but even like Chicago and New York are trying to get places back up because the economy needs it right now, man.
Certainly.
Everybody knows it, but this is good that we're going to start getting some fans back in. We're going to start getting a little more normalcy going on, and that'll be pretty nice. And obviously, we're not going to get fans flying over from the UK or from Europe right now because there's still travel restrictions on them. Mm-hmm. So it'll be, local people mostly. And it doesn't say what capacity they're supposed to be at. It just says not 100%. I would figure 50% capacity is what they're going to start with.
Yes, one would hope.
Right. So
I'm more curious than anything outside of it. Does not surprise me at all that they're going to have people for WrestleMania, because I can't anticipate them, having not had people again for another WrestleMania. But I think more than anything, what I'm really curious about is after WrestleMania, because what do you do then? You can't. Well, I mean, I guess you still can have people. But, do you have people? How many people do you have? It's a little bit different, going outdoor stadium. Like you said, Raymond James Stadium is an outdoor stadium. It's a football stadium. Mm-hmm. It's a Buccaneers stadium. Versus, if you decide to go back to where they're taping Raw, I think Tropicana Field.
You got it.
If you're going to start having people in there, it becomes a whole nother thing. And, then, you're going to have people for NXT. You're going to have people for SmackDown. There's all these questions that need to be asked, need to be answered. And I don't think we know those quite yet, but that's the part that I'm the most curious about.
Yeah, definitely. There was a little video I had here. I'm looking for it real quick of Drew talking about fans coming on back to the arena, and he didn't cut a promo, but he's in that same little room. Now, I've got it on the bottom computer here. I don't have it up here. I'm going to shut the chat room off for a minute.
Also, if I believe correctly, before I get corrected, I am almost certain that Tropicana Field is an indoor-outdoor, like it's got a retractable dome. So you might be able to do, fans that way. If you leave the dome open, might make it a little bit easier, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that. Remember, I'm not a big sports fan, so I don't really know what the arenas look like.
Look, but I'm pretty sure that it is retractable.
All right. This video will... Oh, there it goes. Hold on one second. Let me hit pause. All right. Let me get this video going real quick. Of course, I have to hit play for a second. Then I can unmute. Then I can pause. And then let's go ahead and hear.
Big for me, the biggest moment of my career. Main event in WrestleMania. Winning my...
Yeah, this ain't going to play. Oh. Maybe it will.
The Raymond James family.
Okay, this computer's going tomorrow. Anyway, forget it. Who gives a shit? Oh, there was an ad loading. That's why it didn't want to play. You know what? I'm not waiting. Fuck it. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to torture you guys. Anyway, Drew's ready to get fans back in the fucking arena. I think we're all ready to get some fans back again, get to some sort of normalcy back, and that'll be cool.
And what's actually interesting that I just learned here
you learned
about looking up. Well, yeah, the fact that I actually learned something is interesting in its own right, because it doesn't happen very often. The Tropicana Field, it was formerly known from 90 to 93 as the Florida Suncoast Dome. That's not interesting. But from 93 to 96, it was known as the Thunderdome.
Oh.
So it actually literally was the Thunderdome for a minute before it became the WWE Thunderdome.
So the Thunderdome is now the Thunderdome. The formerly known Thunderdome is still the Thunderdome.
That's right. It has once again become the Thunderdome.
That's some pretty cool shit.
Yes.
That's some pretty cool shit. So, all right, yeah. Like I said, man, it'd be nice to get some fans back in there, hear a little bit of screaming instead of piped-in noise. I'm sure they're going to still pipe in the noise, which is going to be the most annoying things for fans. I hope they don't.
I think that they probably will.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to try to maybe reduced, but I think that's going to cause some interesting and potentially hilarious problems as they fight to find the balance between like having the piped-in noise as like a supplement versus as the main thing. And I could definitely see if they do start having fans like on a weekly basis. Like I can't wait for the sort of the visible crowd reaction having a big contrast versus the piped in reactions of like the fans booing something, but then them playing the cheers or vice versa.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see where it goes from here. Smark, yeah, we'll just see where it goes, and hopefully I don't know. I definitely just want to get fans back in the arena again, man. I want to hear them. I want to see what they do. But yeah, WWE will. At least when they bring Roman out there and the fans are booing, it's supposed to happen now.
Mm-hmm.
So they won't try to manipulate that audio. God, how many times did they do that? They would on Hulu. They would have cheers. I would watch it on DVR, and they would be booing.
Mm-hmm. No, plenty of times. Specifically with Roman, as you mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see and a good thing to see. So, coming up, we're getting fans back. They're not saying that's the first show they're going to have fans back, but they are going to have fans in for WrestleMania 37. So, we'll see if they have any fans in before as kind of a trial. I don't know if you want to bring back fans on that show and kind of run something you haven't done. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're going to do temperature checks at the door. I don't know what they're going to do, but I would trial run that shit first.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I mean, clock's ticking, so that'll be interesting.
Absolutely. TikTok, sir. TikTok.
Yep.
So, all right, Smark, you sent over a few things. Why don't you go ahead and knock out any one of yours? Take a pick.
Well, since we're talking about current WWE news and issues. This one is from Fightful. As we've established before, it is a garbage place that just prints out a whole bunch of bullshit, according to Charlotte. But anyways, our friends here at Fightful, it says Fightful Select has details on how WWE is approaching the COVID-19 vaccine with its talent, including how the talent are reacting to the company's decision. According to Fightful, WWE talent were recently informed that they wouldn't be getting the vaccine through the company. Surprise. With talent being responsible for getting the vaccine on their own, the report notes that the decision, quote, surprised some talent who were expecting to receive the vaccinations through WWE, although there were others who figured they would be required to get it for themselves due to their independent contractor status. Those people are the people smart enough to know that they're going to get dicked over at all turns. Additionally, Fightful claims that there is a, quote, ton of frustration among the talent that they've spoken with there being some influential people in WWE who, quote, actively speak against COVID. I wonder who that could be. It's worth noting that Fightful reports that since Drew McIntyre announced that he had tested positive for COVID, others behind the scenes have also tested positive. So there is a unknown figure who is apparently actively speaking against COVID.
Yeah, unknown. Man, I got to tell you, I'm kind of torn on this one because the independent contractor, yeah, they shouldn't have to pay for that. Now, a true like if I were in sales, right, which I used to be, and it was required by my company that I get the vaccine, I would have been able to write it off as a business expense, and I would have been reimbursed for it. But if they're not requiring it, and if you want it, go get it. I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but it is on you, whether you want it or not. If it's required, it's a whole different ball game. But if they're leaving it up to them, if they want to get it or if they don't, then it's not really up to the company to pay for it. I know some people may be surprised to hear that, but it's not.
And I get what you're saying. I would say kind of on the opposite end of that argument, like I said, and I do think that you're right there with them, unfortunately, with them being independent contractors, so on and so forth, that it does become their responsibility. However, if you're using these guys, it seems like it would kind of behoove you to make sure that they're not going to get sick for your own benefits. You know what I mean? Because they had a very important match that was potentially almost compromised because of Drew testing positive for COVID. So I feel like, especially you coming up on WrestleMania, at the very least, getting, the people that you use on a reoccurring basis, getting them vaccinated for your own benefit so that you're not having these big matches potentially compromised and you end up losing money that way. I feel like it might be worth it to get at least some of these more pivotal people on your roster taken care of.
And I see that. And again, if they were employees of this company and that was a requirement, you have to get it, then yes. But again, they're saying right here, they figured they'd be required, but they don't. They're not required. So, but I definitely, listen, do I agree with it? No. WWE has the fucking money. I think they should pay for it. But if you're looking at it under their rose-colored business glasses, I guess you could put it.
Right.
It's not up to them, and it's really not. It's just not. Now, if I, were Vince, and it was, I guess not if I was Vince. If I ran that fucking company, yeah, I would say anyone who wants it, go get it. Bring us the receipt. We'll take care of it. We'll reimburse you. We'll this. We'll that. However it was done, I would figure out a way to get those people paid for that test.
Right.
But the way WWE has these guys working, again, the independent contractor status, is shitty. I've said it before. I agree with I don't agree with all of it, but I've had these contracts before too, and they suck. I will agree with that. but they know what they were getting into. And like, you even said, there's people smart enough to know that they knew with their independent contractor status, they were going to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are people that get the world, get business, and they're going to flourish in this company. The other ones are kind of going to get taken and are not really understanding what's going on.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum at this point, but like last year, it was what it was. And we still are. We're in a pandemic, and then one of the biggest things that we were talking about last year was all the shit with them with Twitch, and with them releasing just a whole bunch of people over the spring. Mm-hmm. So, like, and I say this not even really as a judgment. I say this as like, if you're seeing this go on, like, perfectly well that this is a business before anything else. And that nobody is indisposable. Everybody can be fired. Everybody can be, you have to take care of yourself is the overall point. So if you're seeing all this shit go on, you have to at least assume that it is, up your responsibility to take care of yourself and to not wait and hope that they're going to do the right thing and take care of you when you've seen them not necessarily always do that.
Right. Yeah. Again, it's not a good thing for a company to do, especially a company like this where you're right. They've had to cancel big matches already and do this and do that. And they've had people test positive for COVID, but they're not going to do it. There's nothing you can do.
And I will say also, to be sort of a devil's advocate here, as much as that would pain me to do, to stick up for them in any sort of way, we don't know what AEW is doing in terms of the vaccine. We know that they test people and everything like that, but I don't think there's anything that has come out yet. And I encourage, if I'm wrong about this, that somebody would let me know. But I haven't seen anything yet talking about how they're handling specifically the vaccine.
Yeah, I haven't either. And we will find out what's going on with all that. But again, man, it's not the right thing for a company to do. But business decisions aren't always the right thing to do as a human being. They're business decisions. And again, if I owned that fucking company, I would tell them one way, we will reimburse you, we'll do this, we'll do that. My wife got my text to do a shot. And what? Oh, I texted you a minute and a half ago to do a shot. Look at that. She didn't even get my text. Good God. What a woman. Hold on, please.
Cheers, everybody. Have your drink at home if you have one.
Oh, no, not cold enough at all. But not bad. I can handle it. Thank you, baby. All right. Ooh, let me get that one out real quick.
Feel the burn.
Oh, yeah. And I'm drinking beer.
Nice.
Gonna be a good night. All right, let's keep going here. So yeah. Anyway, I think we pretty much drove that one to the ground.
Yeah.
New Japan Pro Wrestling announces Sakura Genesis. It's going to be at Sumo Hall on 4/4, April 4th. We're going to get that bad boy. This is pretty much one of their first big shows they're going to be doing. Actually, this is the first event they're doing at Sumo Hall since the G1 Climax Finals last October.
Yes.
So that's going to be going on soon. And they don't really have any, obviously they don't have any matches right yet because it's not for, 3 more months. But there you go. So we got a show right there. It's going to be at Sumo Hall. So New Japan fans, strap in. Going to be a fun time. And they also introduced a show before that, because usually the winner of the New Japan Cup challenges for the championship of their choosing at Genesis. Mm-hmm. And the Cup will be beginning on March 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Final scheduled for the 21st.
The 21st. There you go. So that will all be happening, and it's good to see. Well, once again, man, good to see everyone kind of trying to get that shit rolling, get a little bit of normalcy going again, get people back to just doing what they did, man. Not be so
They've had some interesting scheduling kind of issues anyway, because last year, even before the pandemic, they specifically switched around the dates of some of their tournaments, because that is the big thing there, is they do tournaments.
Right.
You get the G1 Cup, you get the G1 Climax, which is a little bit different, but it's still a tournament, because the G1 Cup is a single elimination. But then so anyways, the tournaments are like a big thing there. They do a tag tournament, they do a tournament for the Super Juniors. But anyways, they had to reshuffle the dates of a lot of their big events because before the pandemic, the Olympics was scheduled to happen.
Right.
So they shuffled everything around, and the pandemic happened. So you shuffled everything around. You've already committed to these dates. You got to do them. But then this year, they're also planning on doing the Olympics again. So again, they have to switch up their kind of scheduling a little bit to sort of accommodate the Olympics that are happening in Japan. So, are supposed to be. We're going to see that that's what they're hopeful for. But again, they've had to deal with some scheduling kind of issues.
Yeah, I hope the Olympics happen. I got to tell you, I do like watching.
Yeah, they're fun. I like watching them too.
I enjoy watching the Olympics. I mean, obviously not everything, but I get my old DVR ready. Oh, you guys did hear that?
Mm-hmm.
No. See, okay, so I pulled up our next story I'm going to talk about real quick. And see, you can't hear what comes over this computer because I don't have the mixer set up that way. But it looks like the chat room can hear it when I do it. So I'll be more aware of that from now on, guys. Appreciate that. Appreciate you letting me know that you heard that. Because I didn't know if that came through or not. Because I know Smart can't hear it. But good to know the chat room can. So if I ever have to play sounds, we can get that worked out. And Smart can mute himself and turn on the chat room if he has to. So here we go. Anyway, let's move on a little bit here. We're what are we at here? I haven't looked at the time. Oh, we're doing good on time. We talked about Dark Side of the Ring on Wednesday night. According to PW Insider, that's who I'm looking at right here, PW Insider and Mike Johnson, there is another one being added, and it's going to be on Chris Kanyon. Obviously, Chris Kanyon, WCW, WWE, took his own life in 2010. So I don't know where that's going to be put in here. We know Brian Pillman is going to be the first episode, so that's kind of set in stone. I don't know where the Canyon one is, or if it's going to be like a special or what. But it looks like, according to PW Insider and Mike Johnson, there will be one on Chris Kanyon. So that could be interesting.
I think it definitely is going to be. Because I mean, he was a talented wrestler in his own right, but then of course, being sort of, you had Pat Patterson, but that was apparently supposed to be a secret, even though it wasn't a secret or whatever the fuck it was that they tried to put out there. I get confused with what was supposed to be kayfabe and what wasn't with that, because there was that whole big Legends House episode where everybody had to pretend to act surprised.
Right.
But yeah, so anyways, you had like Pat Patterson and stuff, but Kanyon was like one of the first like kind of openly gay wrestlers.
Yeah.
It wasn't at a time in social media, so it wasn't like he was out there, posting it all over the internet or whatever, but it was common knowledge that he was gay. And unfortunately, he faced a lot of unnecessary shit because of that. There was bullying, and not even bullying, because, that has its own context, but there were wrestlers that were like purposely stiffing him, and he was being harassed and shit like that. And, ultimately ended up leading to him committing suicide. So it's going to be very interesting to see, or to, hear the story and hear the extra details that we might not have heard, because he's sort of a pioneer in a sort. And then, the tale itself is kind of tragic, but it's going to be interesting to see that. I think that was always going to be one of the ones that was on the horizon. So it's interesting that they're adding that to this one instead of, maybe just saving it for next season. But I'm definitely going to be curious to see what it is, how they tell that tale.
Yeah, I could see this being an opening episode to another season. I don't know if that's how they're going to do it. I mean, they could record it and keep it for whenever they want. It might not be on this season. But it says they are. Now, again, there's no date, and it doesn't say for. Now, the headline of the article says for season 3. But the article does not give what season it could be in. So they could be saving this for next season and just taping it right now. But yeah, that is definitely going to be a one to watch. See what we don't know. Again, like you just said, Smark, there was no social media back then. It was something we all knew from reading the the dirt sheets, if you will. But it was also something that wasn't very out there. Again, no social media back then. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Twitter. Barely had internet at that time. I mean, barely. Not really barely, but it was like...
Well, yeah, that was the funny thing. It was like it was fun getting to watch the wrestling promotions discover the internet and how they chose to market themselves. Because I feel like both of the places, and by both of the places I mean WWF at the time, WCW, they both had the come onto our website and join our superstar chat room. We're going to have so-and-so answering questions after the pay-per-view, and you see them sitting there at a desk and the most primitive computers you can, imaginable, which at the time, of course, obviously were the cutting edge, but it's just funny to see now, fucking Shawn Michaels sitting in front of this big blocky fucking Windows 98 machine.
Goddamn huge fucking monitor with the green writing.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Join us in cyberspace. Type in AOL keyword.
Yeah, now you can literally take a TV and plug it into your computer. I have 2 TVs up here as monitors.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, my computer's a fucking touchscreen at this point, so it's technology has come such far, far way from where it was back then. But it's always funny to hear, the first initial when they're trying to get their websites over.
Yeah, it was, but this will again. This Chris Kanyon one will be definitely one to watch again. Like you said, for the things we didn't know and couldn't know back then because of no real way to know it. So that'll be an actual story that none of us really are sitting there we already know all of this. So very good right there. Smart, roll the dice.
Sure. Well, let's see. I have 2 that are going to go together, but before we get into those, and that I'm going to tease that, because Antex had mentioned that he can't wait to hear us talk about The Undertaker, and we will. But before we get into The Undertaker, being The Undertaker, I'm going to go ahead and read an excerpt here from Ken Shamrock's book. This is from Shamrock, The World's Most Dangerous Man. This is a book by Jonathan Snowden. He helped write it for him. This is the death of Brian Pillman shook Shamrock, who spent a lot of time with Pillman, who, for better or worse, was one of the wrestlers who indoctrined him into life on the road. Quote, one of my early trips, Brian was riding with me because he didn't rent a car, Shamrock says. He didn't talk a whole lot and was drinking these Diet Cokes one after another. There were 4 of them on the ground. He seemed a little off. We got out to eat at this diner where all the boys had gone, and he can't walk. I thought he was dying. I went in and grabbed Stone Cold. I was really worried. Steve came out just to laugh at him. I thought he was dying, but they told me that he had just taken some gimmicks. That's what they called somas. Shawn Michaels had many gimmicks back in the day, apparently. He was a real Mick Foley. He was literally drooling all over himself. Everyone was laughing at him, and I just thought it was so cruel. I dropped him off in his room and thought, these people are whacked.
Well, at least he wasn't drinking alcohol with him.
Yeah, I did think that the mentioning the Diet Coke specifically was a bit of an odd detail.
Well, I mean, I've told you before I've mentioned this story before. There was a night where I was in Florida, went to actually it was my boss's house. He wasn't there, but I knew his wife had somas. So I went in and took a few and left a little cash, and we were snorting them off my dashboard while driving up Federal Highway in Florida. Mm-hmm. So I get somas, and they're pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not promoting drug use, but they're pretty good shit, especially if you're drinking. They really kick in that alcohol. Right. So, but yeah, it's definitely this is a funny story, and I mean, yeah, literally though, we were driving. Me and a friend of mine were driving up Federal Highway, snorting them off my dashboard.
And I mean, that's another kind of funny thing too, though, is like at this point, Shamrock's coming in from UFC, and this was when UFC was like kind of the Wild West in terms of how they structured their fights.
Yep.
Because you would have these like fucking 500-pound like sumo wrestler dude versus this like, 5 foot tall, 125-pound like judo guy who would usually ultimately end up beating that ass more often than not, because it was usually the ones that were actually skilled fighters that would beat like these guys that were just like these big quick sideshow people. But like anyways, this was at a time when like UFC was like the super controversial. It was almost unregulated. There was a lot of people that were like calling it like human cockfighting more or less, and he comes from this environment and like he's like, well, shit, based on what I came from, coming into this element, you guys are the fucking crazy ones. Like, you guys are monsters.
Well, I mean, like, in UFC, you might get guys using, PEDs, they're using growth hormones and shit like that. But, a lot of those guys are really training their ass off all fucking day. That's what they do. That's what they're paid to do. They fucking train and train and train. They're not doing drugs. They're not out there fucking around. And then you got these wrestlers who are out there during this time and are having the fucking time of their life. And yeah, I mean, look, at least he was drinking Diet Coke and wasn't fucking trying to get you in trouble drinking beer with fucking somas, which, like I said, that rips your fucking, that's some fun shit. And again,
it reminds me a little bit of like the Kurt Angle story. Of like when he came out of the Olympics and like before he ended up going to WWE, he was like went to check out ECW, and the first show that he went to was the one that Sandman got fucking crucified.
Yes,
it's just like this idea of these like legitimate athletes or these competitors in like actual legitimate sports come out and to see what wrestling is all about, and this is like one of their earliest experiences. It's like it's fucking wild.
These guys are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see it, man. Again, you got these guys coming out. Again, these guys are a lot of those other guys. Again, you go to these UFC. Those guys are serious athletes because they're really getting hit. They're really getting punched. They have to be able to defend themselves. They have to be able to do offense, defense, everything in the world. And then you're going to a scripted thing. Where, again, I'm not going to use the fake word, but, you're going to a scripted thing where, the outcomes are, predetermined and they know what's going to happen. But I could just see where a lot, you're around all these serious guys who all we do is train, all we do is here, we're there. And then next thing you know, he's out there with these fucking guys who are taking so many somas, they're drooling on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And laughing about it. Steve, the one part of that, Steve Austin came out just to laugh at him. He knew he was all right. He was just all fucked up on somas.
Right.
So, good little story though, man. I like that. These people are whacked, he says.
It's amazing. It's a hard thing for me to picture Shamrock saying, but it's a funny thing to read.
Oh, I'm sure he said these guys are fucked up. This is some fucked up shit. This is fucked up shit. So, all right. But yeah, anyway, yeah. Again, like Smart just said in the chat room, say no to some drugs.
Yeah. Don't be doing that meth, kids.
Don't be doing meth, no cocaine, no heroin. Look, you want to take a few somas and drink some beers? Do it at home.
Mm-hmm.
Don't drive. Don't be going up Federal Highway snorting them off your dashboard. And literally that night we ended up having a cake party after that. Oh yeah, that was early in the night. That was like 6 or 7. I wish I could remember. I'm trying to think who was in the car with me. I think it was my friend Mike McTeague. I think. I don't know. Maybe I'll call him over the weekend. I got his number. Okay. Hey, were you with me that night, man?
It's very much kind of a news anchor sounding name.
Mike McTeague?
Yeah, it's like I'm Mike McKee for Channel 3.
No, McTeague.
Well, that's even that works too.
Like league with a T.
As long as it rhymes.
He was a good guy, man. He was a good dude. He was a good dude. I've actually told a story about him before, which I'm not going to repeat. And I'm not even going to connect him. How's that? I've told a story about this guy before. You know what? I'll connect him a little bit. It had to do with drug dealers and them going to jail for a while. Anyway, he's still a good guy. He fucked up. Drugs will fuck you up, man. Again, Don't do that cocaine. Don't do that cocaine. That's what they were going for.
If you could do it without it becoming a habit, I can speak from firsthand experience that it's a lot of fun.
No.
I'm surprised that I didn't get hooked on it.
No, that's never tried it.
I only tried it a couple of times because I knew going in that it was too expensive for me to be able to afford on a regular basis.
Dude,
so I was like, I just need to know what this feels like.
No.
And then I felt what it felt like, and I was like, I should not believe in myself to this capacity. I should not be able to believe that anything is possible. I should not have this kind of energy. This needs to stop.
Do you see this nose, dude? No way I could do coke. I'd be broke. I'd have nothing. I'd be a homeless guy on the street looking for coke. Nope, I ain't doing it. Ain't doing it. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on a little bit here. I got a couple more little things, and Smark's got a couple more things. Both of us got a couple more things. I'm going to jump into one of my little things here. Lio Rush was the inaugural guest on the MCW cast, which is the Maryland Championship Wrestling podcast. You can get it over there. It's on Facebook Live and all that stuff right there. Now, we've talked a little bit about this. Rush gave his thoughts on AEW using wrestlers at ringside for fans. He kind of mentions NXT too because he kind of takes a shot at him. But here's what he said about the fans. He gave his thoughts on it and stated that he isn't keen on it. And had that been him, okay, keep that in mind, he possibly would have gotten in trouble for denying that spot. It's a little weird, he says. It depends on the company. Obviously, it depends on the budget. AEW is running out of a freaking football stadium or whatever it is, so they can afford to have people sit back hundreds and hundreds of feet away. But then they have, and then it has a dash, I don't really understand putting the wrestlers in T-shirts and making them act like fans. I don't really understand that. This is very silly to me. See, that is where I would have gotten in trouble. I probably would have gotten in trouble again. I would have said, no, I'm a superstar, according to you guys. So I'm not about to be dressed up like a fan and banging on the gates and pretending like I'm a fan of another wrestler, another wrestler when I got a storyline with them in 2 weeks. So they ask about AEW, and really he answers about NXT. AEW never had fucking gates or fences or anything like that. Ever. Never. Never, ever, ever, never. So, and also, you sit here, you really think he would have said, okay, do you know what they would have done if he said no? Bye.
I mean, probably fired him.
Yeah. Bye. You're not going to go out. Well, first of all, what storyline did he have with anybody? Lio Rush.
I mean, honestly, the only thing I remember was they put him with Lashley for a minute.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. No
but
one
that
remembers.
Was a feud. He was like his manager, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, exactly. And look at the way NXT is doing the fans. They're not focusing in on those people except for the quick intro of the show, and that's it. They don't focus on them.
Right.
You know what? They were so right to get rid of Lio Rush. This guy is a shit starter. That's all he wants to do is start shit, unfortunately, he's got us talking, get people talking, but he's just a fucking shit starter. That's all he is.
And see, I sort of get where he's coming from a little bit, because I do get the point of, like, if you're supposed to be different from the fans, then being out there in a fan capacity sort of contradicts that message. But at the same time, I feel like the way that he put that was kind of arrogant in its own right. But then also it's a matter of, like, dude, like, it's a pandemic. Like, we're just trying some shit, you know? Like, maybe play along. Like, even if you don't like it, like, we're not asking you to do anything that is fucking, like, just extremely outlandish or ridiculous or offensive in any sort of form or fashion. Like, there's all these other people that are doing it too. You know, this isn't a matter of poor taste or anything that is potentially, you know, a conflict to who you are as a person in terms of, like, so, you know, they have a history of doing some pretty bad things regarding race, but it's not even a thing like that. But then, like, and so I get what he's saying about, like, you don't want to be perceived as just an ordinary person. You want to be perceived as a star. But at the same time, like, it wouldn't kill you to kind of play along every now and again.
Good. Put a mask on. Shut the fuck up and do what you're paid to do. And what you're paid to do is do what you're told by a company, unfortunately. That's what you signed up for. Remember that whole contract you signed? I don't know. And again, like you just said, we're in a fucking pandemic. And again, they're not, like, focusing on these people. They all pretty much have masks on.
Right.
So,
and I mean, to that credit, when before they started having actual fans, AEW did have where they would have the wrestlers come out and there'd be like a heel section and a face section, more or less. You know, and they would watch the matches and they'd comment, and they would occasionally show, you know, certain wrestlers that were sitting there watching the matches. And, like, and it wasn't just random ordinary people either. You would have, like, you had an MJF out there every so often. And you would have other people, but that was, like, sort of the high profile. Everyone that they showed out there during the matches that were watching the matches and, like, commenting and cheering, clapping, booing, what have you, I don't think any of them had their stock or their star hurt in any sort of tangible way. I don't think anybody saw MJF, like, reacting to a match and thought, oh, this fucking MJF is a bum now. It's like, that just didn't happen.
Yeah, and most of the wrestlers ringside at NXT, honestly, I don't know who the fuck they are. They're people that aren't really off the indies. They've hired off of other things. I don't know who most of them are. They're PC. They're performance center people. They're not NXT talent, most of them. AEW, you're right, a little different. They've got the talent down there, but they show the talent. They're down there. It's a different thing when AEW does it. And he did not answer the AEW question. He immediately took a shot at WWE. Once again, AEW's never had cages or anything like that around for them to beat on.
Uh-huh.
Or gates. So, I don't know. This guy really needs to fucking take a step back and think about really how his career went and look at who blew his own career up. Literally put a fucking grenade in his own fucking career. Step back, dude. Stop fucking mentally masturbating yourself so much. So, Jesus, literally, he's jerking himself off in his fucking mind, and he's got to fucking stop, dude. It's awful, dude. He's an egotistical little bastard. I hate him sometimes, and I don't say hate very much.
Wow, I mean, there you go. Like, you definitely do feel way more passionately about this than I do. And for the record, for whatever it's worth, I have defended him at times because I thought that he was kind of in the right when they were asking him to, like, you know, fucking carry people's bags and get donuts and shit.
He was. He
was.
No, he was in the right. Absolutely. No, he was in the right. Absolutely, he was in the right back then. I get why he wouldn't want to do that. He's a talented guy in the ring. Problem is, he's just not a people person. And
sure.
that's where I was going.
It becomes such a thing because, like, it's a paradox. It really is. It is a true paradox. You are, you know, from the very beginning, it's hammered that you're supposed to make yourself out to be a star, When you're on the independent scene, you're supposed to, make yourself out to be a star, make yourself out to be a big deal, try to stand out so that you can go to bigger and better independent companies and then eventually, hopefully, an AEW or WWE. So you're expected, and, it's hammered home to that you're supposed to carry yourself in a way that makes you stand out and that makes you look like a star. And you get so used to having to believe that you're a star, having to sell yourself as a star, that it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that you start to look at yourself potentially as a bigger deal than you might be. And, regardless of who you are, you might end up starting to lose sight of that kind of humility and start becoming a little bit more arrogant and a little bit more full of your own shit than perhaps you should be. So it's really hard for a lot of people, I think, to kind of find that balance.
Well, then you're not a humble person and you're not prepared for the shit that's about to go down.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's that too, So I don't know, man. I really, dude. If you're not willing to be a fucking team player, just fucking say it. Just say, look, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't want to do it, and it's because I'm just not a team player. Because that's really what you're saying.
And that becomes kind of its own different thing of being like, I don't want to be out here looking like I'm a fan of these people. And it's like, why? Like, why wouldn't you want to be out here? Like, there are, people talk about it all over, there's been all kinds of feuds that have been built on, I think you're really good. I think you're one of the best. I need to prove myself that I can beat somebody like you, like stuff like that, where it's like, okay, you could be perceived as being a fan of that person,
Yeah, look, it's not 1971, and and we're in the middle of a goddamn fucking pandemic here.
Yeah.
Just shut up. I'm sorry. Just shut the fuck up. I wouldn't do it. I'd get in trouble again. You know what? Maybe you and Loki should start a team called the fucking Cunts. How's that? You and Loki can start a team called the Cunts and just fucking go out and make money because you're both fucking cunts. How's that sound?
I mean, it is what it is. Like, as you've seen, that is kind of, and, again, like I said, I've supported him on some things, but his inability to, sometimes just kind of swallow certain things and not necessarily make an issue out of literally everything, it's starting to show up on where it is that he's booked and where it is that he isn't booked. Because as of right now, the only place I know that he is booked on a somewhat regular basis is GCW, and that's about it.
Yeah, and listen, I get pride. Oh, I'd be too proud to do a thing like that. But let me tell you something. Pride is great, but if you don't have a little bit of humility with your pride, then listen, pride is one of the 7 deadly sins, dude.
Right. Oh, yeah, nothing wrong with standing up for yourself, but
No.
at the same time, you also can't beat up somebody at Starbucks because they mispronounced your name. Like, there's give and take to all of this.
Exactly. And, like I said, pride is great. Be proud of whatever you do, whatever you are, whatever you want to be proud of. But when you've got no humility with it, it really just, it's not going to fucking work. It's not going to work. You've got to be able to literally, and thinking of yourself as a star, a superstar, that's great. But you also got to be able to just, what is the big deal of sitting, again, they all got masks on. Stand behind someone. You think they're going to really focus in on you?
Specifically call you out on commentary.
Yeah, hey, look, Lio Rush is in the audience. No. They wouldn't give a shit. They won't even mention the refs. Do you think they're going to fucking focus in on the goddamn audience after... Anyway, let's just move on. Smart, pick a fucking story before I fucking... God damn,
before I get into another story, because the only one I have left is a little bit of a fallout from what had happened. We talked about it on Wednesday, but I'll give you a little bit of a bonus story here to cool you off a little bit, because we were talking about substances. So this is Jim Ross, quote, "I was having a long day talking with somebody with substance abuse issues. Afterwards, I caught Owen Hart stumbling, bouncing off the walls. He had a white substance under his nose. Obviously, Owen was not a drug user. He had gone to catering and got a powdered donut to cheer me up." So there's that. Owen deciding to pretend like he was on cocaine to just kind of make things a little bit better.
Just a rib, JR.
The good old cocaine rib, which I would have loved to have seen because he probably committed to that pretty hard.
I would say I needed that. Thank you, Smart.
Yes. Okay. So to get into what the last thing that I have, and I'm not sure what the connection would be. Actually, yeah, substance abuse is nowadays versus, or back in the day versus now. The Undertaker said that one of the things that was missing was not substance abuse. It was that, we talked about it, things are a little bit too pretty nowadays, and people are soft. Well, this drew some ire from a lot of different people. I will read two among them. First off, Sean Ross Sapp, which was a lot easier for me to say on the show than before the show, because I had a bear of a time saying it. Anyways, shocking that the wrestling generation of today would rather be playing video games than being zooted to the hills and having their ass soaped in the shower by a colleague, or having their hotel door pounded on at 3 a.m. by an eventual murderer so they could get hazed. Just paying dues, I guess. Shout out to the one-time Muhammad Hassan footed an airport bar tab for everyone there to make good with them, and the guys just bought a shit ton of shots and poured them out to blow his money. Ha 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 ha! Great rib, guys. Great rib for a guy who just got called up, guys. There is one there. And just so it's not all just people like us, aka nerds, an actual wrestler took a bit of offense to this. And it is exactly who you think would take offense to The Undertaker complaining about today's culture in wrestling, of it being maybe a little bit too soft and these fuckers playing video games in a locker room. So, Austin Creed, a.k.a. Xavier Woods, has to say, I wouldn't be the person that I am without the guidance and lessons of a few key people from previous generations of wrestling. They taught me about the business to save my money, and that having video games in the locker room is healthier than having redacted. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Times have changed. I get it. These guys are looking to not make the mistakes of some of the guys past. I can't fault anyone for not wanting to die early. For not wanting to do some of the things that these guys were doing, and to save their money. Like, I'm sure some of these guys are looking at Ric Flair just going, I think I'm going to take the opposite road of that one.
Right.
But I can also see where Taker's, listen, it depends on when you grew up, when you were in the business. Okay, Taker's used to getting to this side of the business, to this era of the business, right? Xavier's used to the other side of the business, the new side of the business. I can see Taker sitting there talking about things like this. And, I mean, Sean Ross, please. This guy will sit there and, yeah, I get both sides. Undertaker grew up in a different time. And, yeah, back then that was paying dues. And I don't know, I mean, how many wrestlers have been murdered by the guy pounding on your door at 3 a.m.? I mean, please tell me that. But I hate to say, but the airport bar tab, that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. I like that. And they all did shots. Listen, don't offer.
Well, the question is, did he really have a choice? Because a lot of that shit is usually expected. You don't have much of a choice. I will never advocate for people pouring out liquor for no good reason. So I can't get behind that particular element of the story. Don't be dumping shots. That's fucking wasteful. Even if you hate the guy, just begrudgingly drink his liquor. And if you really want to be an asshole, just order more expensive shit than you normally drink. It's a Johnny Walker kind of a night, apparently. Something like that, other than just wasting liquor. I can't get behind that. But, and like, I don't know, like, I don't really know where, unless I just sort of misunderstood, and I'm like looking at it again, he called it soft, the product. I don't think he really mentioned anything about like the culture in the locker room, though. So sort of anybody talking about the culture in the locker room now versus back in the day, not entirely sure where that came from, because it was more of just him calling the product soft, saying that it's too pretty.
Oh, I'm sure some of the guys figured that he was, by saying soft, he was like, oh, you think we're soft because we're not fucking out there drinking and doing cocaine and this and that. You're right. I don't think that's what he was saying. My man have a bit of a guilty conscience. But yeah, Sean Ross Sapp, what up? I mean, this guy just goes wherever the fucking wind blows, wherever he can get a fucking like, wherever he can get a retweet. I gotta be serious, man. He really does. He's just looking for a fucking Twitter fuck.
Sure. And I don't know. I think some of that maybe isn't so much the culture versus, like we were talking about before, the way that they wrestle. And then also, I think if you really want to like kind of draw conclusions or jump to conclusions, you might also be able to think that he's sort of implying that the way that wrestlers look nowadays isn't the same as when, because back in the day, like, look at the people he associated himself with. You got these big fucking rednecks. He was hanging out with the Godwins or whatever. He was hanging out. I wouldn't call him a big redneck, but he was hanging out with the Godfather. He was hanging out with these big, tall, fucking strong dudes who legitimately fucking fist fighted each other for fun, that kind of thing, So and it's different. I don't think that really has too much to do with the culture, but and like we were talking about Wednesday, I think more than anything, I think he didn't criticize who I think probably should have been criticized. It's like, it's not him talking about, hey, there's a lack of continuity in storylines. Hey, these shows get thrown together at the last minute without any, plans of continuity or telling a broader story throughout, the spanning weeks and months or whatever. Hey, there's no actual incentive to get behind people because people get de-pushed randomly for no apparent reason. None of the actual creative problems are addressed. It was just, hey, I think this is a little too pretty. I think these guys are a little too soft. It's like, I don't know. I think it's more of there's a lack of direction, just period, in terms of creative.
Yeah. And again, man, Taker grew up in a different time. Xavier grew up in a different time. A lot of people grew up in a different time than wrestling was what it was back then. It is what it is now.
Sure.
Taker unfortunately can't go back in time, and Xavier can't go back in time and explain to those guys what they're doing wrong. It's just, we're all in the now, and that's all we can do.
And I think you need some of those guys. I think you need some of those guys with like some of the old school mentality or what have you, because I might be the only one that thinks this way, but I think that in some respects, like, Moxley's a little bit of an old school type of guy. He seems like somebody who is very much influenced by like a Terry Funk and like tries to keep up some of those old school like Southern wrestling ideals.
Yeah, dude, we don't have many of the old school came up through the indies, paid their dues guys anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jericho. My God, I think that might be all. Jericho, and my God, they're all dead. But anyway, like I was saying, there's really just nothing. There's nothing Xavier can go back and do. But I do understand these newer guys wanting to save their money. Listen. Look at Edge and Christian. Those are two guys who were known for saving their money, not wasting their money on bullshit, not buying extravagant houses, not doing this, not doing that. Those are two guys who can retire happily with plenty of fucking money. I know Edge came back. I don't think he did it for the money. I think he wanted to come back. And he was cleared to do it. So he said, fuck it, I'll do it too.
Yeah.
So I don't think he needed to come back. Like I said, those two guys were known for saving their fucking money. And like I said, I wouldn't doubt if a lot of them are looking at a Ric Flair out there and going, I don't want to end up like that.
Sure.
I don't want to end up like that. I don't want WWE having to pay my fucking alimony and tax bills.
Yeah, that's kind of the sad thing. Is like, I don't know, like when the camera's on, the Ric Flair persona is great, but then like when the camera goes off, there's a lot of things that kind of point to him maybe just being kind of sad and lonely, and it's not great, you know.
Yeah, and I mean,
Like he's still out here in a pandemic, still doing the Ric Flair thing because it feels like he needs to.
well, yeah, he's got to bang Lacey.
Which, if that is the case, good for him.
She's married. She's married. Shit, stop that.
Oh, that stopped them in the past, hasn't it?
No, I think it would stop her. Again, man, she plays this. Please, let's just fucking not even bother with it.
Fabe, I get you.
Yeah, let's not bother with it. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on. I got two little things left to get into, Smart. One, well, a little jokey. The other one's just a quick little thing, and then we'll knock the fuck out of here. Let's go ahead and knock out the quick little thing. WWE Backstage is returning to FS1. This will be the night before the 2021 Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
It will be Booker T and Paige and Renee Paquette. Renee Young back on. I don't know if she will be on there all the time. It sounds like she's going to return for the first one. I don't know if this is her coming back to WWE to do stuff. It could be. It might. I don't know. We'll find out. But it is coming back. And again, that's the quick one. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on that. The only thing I found interesting about that is Renee Young is coming back for the show.
Yeah, that was the big headline of that, too, that I had saw, but it kind of taken away from it. I mean, I don't know how many more they intend to do. I wouldn't be surprised if this is something they do just for, you know, the day before or the week of a big event. But I can't imagine that she's going to be able to do, like, all of these if it becomes a regular, like, weekly thing or monthly thing. Obviously, you know, with her being pregnant and all.
Yeah, but, I mean, this is probably going to be another one that they do from their house. And, I mean, if they're just going to do it here and there, then we'll see. We'll see what happens. What? I mean, she'll have to take a couple of, you know, a few weeks off afterwards, and they'll work it out. But I don't know. Again, this could just be her coming back because this was kind of the show that kind of got her, I don't know, noticed, I guess. But
I really hope that they let her plug her podcast on the show, and then that we get to see, like, Booker T trying not to smile.
Booker, is that shit about blowies?
You blowing people, sucker?
Are you talking to Randy Orton on that motherfucker?
She didn't just say that.
I love the way he says Randy Orton. I got to tell you, that's the only reason I say it is because I love the way Booker T says it.
I need to check this out though. I wasn't aware that I need to like listen to him say that at some point.
Randy Orton. For a Texas guy, he sounds like he's from New York when he says it. Anyway, Heath, who is now who was formerly Heath Slater, was on Devon Dudley's Table Talk podcast, and he was talking about the segment with Brock Lesnar when Brock said, "I don't give a shit about your kids." Turns out Brock wasn't supposed to say that. Heath, and I quote, says, "That segment put me on the map, but slapped me in the face too." Like literally. So yeah, the whole "I don't give a shit about your kids" was supposed to be, "I don't give a damn about your kids." And I guess the crowd was into it. The people were, "Hey, I got a shirt out of that segment because this is a fact." Everyone knows that if you give me bullet points and tell me this is the ending place, I can come up with the right words to where my fans can translate and be with me. But when you hand me a damn 4-page script and I have to go out there and you're changing it every hour, and then 20 minutes before I go out there, I got everything that I think I have to say in my mind, and then you give me a new script, and then I'm like, what the hell is going on? So it sounds like that script just went back and forth, and Brock Lesnar just said, fuck it, I'm going to say it. I don't give a shit about your kids.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, he did get a shirt out of that, and it did kind of, his words, put him on the map.
Sure.
It did. And again, I think they misused Heath Slater. I really think that guy had a lot more talent than they thought he did. I don't know what I don't know what they didn't see in him. I mean, he's not the. I mean, I guess he's not the biggest. He's not the smallest though. They've got smaller guys in there. He's. I don't know. Was Vince's problem the Southern accent?
Could be. He does seem to kind of detest Southerners, which of course is ironic considering that he was born in North Carolina. But hey,
well, I mean, JR would be a good example of that. He does. He doesn't like the whole Southern thing. Vince just doesn't really care for it. Vince is a fancy man. He don't need no Southern hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fancy man.
The guy who once allegedly wanted to do an incest angle with his daughter is beyond the traditional Southern lifestyle.
He's got morals,
Indeed.
Morals and shit like that. Whatever you want to say. But yeah, I thought it was funny that Brock wasn't supposed to say it, and I didn't. I figured it was a line that he was supposed to because they bleeped it. But then again, you've got that 7-second delay, so someone can hit that red button. So I don't know, man. Pretty funny story though. But Heath definitely, he's right. That did kind of put him on the map. But he was getting a little push before that too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if I agree with him that put him on the map. That might have helped the storyline that he was in already kind of push him a little further, but I think he's being a little modest by saying that line put him on the map.
Yeah, I mean, could be. Like you said, I'm surprised too that they never really did much anything with him because he was always a good promo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even when they brought him back for the brief cameo that he had with Drew, where he cut the whole promo on him, where he's like, you're a fucking shitty friend. You never reached out to me. All this, that, and the third. It was a really good promo. I remember really enjoying that, and it was like, if you would have given the guy a little bit more to work with or a little bit more to deal with, I imagine he would have been a lot better for him, and you could have used him a lot more than you did. And like you were talking about, I imagine it's got to be like really frustrating to try to deliver these good promos when the script keeps changing like every hour on the hour, and then also you have to be cognizant of there's this list of words that you can and cannot say. Don't call it a belt. Don't if you say asparagus, you'll be fired on the spot. Like, there's all these like weird obstacles that you have to jump through that you can't just, act and feel and be creative and put out good shit, which was unintentional, but good shit, pal, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and you're right, man. It's got to be confusing when you're out there trying to you remember these lines, and then they hand you another one, and you got to remember that, and then 20 minutes. Imagine that. 20 minutes before you go out there, you got to try to, in front of live television and fans, thousands of fans in the audience, live television. You got to go out there 20 minutes and remember what the fuck you were supposed to say.
Mm-hmm.
Nah. I mean, yeah, it takes some talent to do that, but 20 minutes ain't a lot of time for anyone to sit there and remember lines from live TV. So, anyway, that's it, man. That's all we got. We got way more than I thought we did. We didn't run that far. We actually kind of kept this kind of short. I'm going to go ahead and get this music rolling, and we're going to knock these plugs out, Smark, and then we're going to get the fuck out of here. I could use a corned beef sandwich. Yeah, I got some corned beef today. I'm going to go dump a bunch of fucking horseradish mustard on there and get me something soon. Anyway, let's go ahead and knock these plugs out and get out of here again. And once again, the high marks. You got Cheese Man. You got Mojo. You got G Wiz. And you want to be checking those guys out right there. You know where you can check them out? Right here, Mixler.com/Metal Mitt Network. That's right, 2 T's in Mitt. Double those T's. And you can find them at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday nights. And, of course, Bobby Anthem and the Bobby Blades. Check them out on the Inhuman Experience. Yes, they are taking a hiatus, but there are still shows being popped up on there. Definitely go ahead and subscribe, because when they come back, you want to be there. You want to be ready. You want to be first in line. So do that. And, of course, the Everything Unscripted podcast. That is Eric, Doug, and Daniel over there. Check those guys out, Blog Talk Radio. You can check them out. Like I said, they're... excuse me. Excuse me. Like I said, you guys can go out there, check them. Blog Talk Radio, Everything Unscripted podcast. And there you go. Sorry, man. Fucking... something got caught in my throat. I swear to God, I think I just swallowed a fucking bug. And, of course, Stephen Milan, letterboxd, boxd.com/Stephen Milan. 2 L's in that Milan name. Over 7,000 films reviewed. Go ahead and check him out. You can get us on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google, TuneIn, Player FM, and Anchor. Don't forget that. We'll be doing some commercials starting next week. And that's it, Smart.
Yes, sir. Mondays, 8:30 on the Midnight Podcast Network, right here on Mixlr or wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to check out Cheese on Sports with a Cheese Man or Cheeseman. And also be sure to check out our friends at the Planet Raccoon Tour. That's the Planet Raccoon Tour podcast with Bobby Anthem, Papa Dave Sincere, and Yuck Nasty. Season 2 is ever approaching. You're going to want to be ready. You're going to want to be subscribed. And you're going to want to listen back to all of the episodes available on archive so that you'll be prepared when Season 2 drops.
All right. There you go. All right. I swear, I think I just inhaled a fucking moth.
Well, that doesn't sound fun.
No, I'm not lying. I think I just accidentally breathed in and inhaled a moth. But anyway, I'll be fine. I got a nice sip of water there. And all right. On that note, live listeners, much appreciated. Love you guys being in here, keeping this chat room rolling and rolling and rolling. And downloaders, you are just as appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you, Smart, for always joining me. And we will see you guys Wednesday. Enjoy the weekend.
Adios.
Party's over. Band last song. Can't stay here. You got to go home. Go home. Go home. It's time to take your drunken ass home. It's all right. If you don't know what to do with yourself, take your drunken ass home. Yeah, we're going over. We're going over. We're going over. We're going over.